you after Warrior basketball. Golden State moving on to the Western Conference Finals. What a game tonight at Chase. 110-96. Golden State wins. Giants win. And we've got a lot to get to. Larry Krueger joined in the Krueg show, or on the Krueg show, with Ryan Smith, Cyrus Saatsaz, Kylen Mills will join us from Cron, Dan Coach Emilio. Coach will be in the house tonight, breaking it all down. And we're going to have a good Friday night, 110-96. And we go right to the comments, and we're going to post a bunch of them. But here's the one that we are going to start with, from Alex, who simply says, Cy was right.
I'm only happy I'm right because it meant the Warriors won, man. That was one hell of a game. That was one hell of a fucking game, man. That was just wow. Yeah. How do you guys feel?
I'm
not sober. How are you guys feeling?
Well, I am sober, but Game 6, Clay, man. What can you say? Game 6, Clay, and then Kevon Looney. I mean, first of all, you know what is kind of embarrassing. Can I complain before we get into this thing?
Yeah, sure, man.
Where's Fitz? Where's Kalena? Where's Jay? Where's my crew? Instead, I'm getting the network crew. We are in the playoffs. Kevon Looney is what, a 5-year vet? The guy, 6-year vet, maybe more,
maybe even 7,
maybe even 7. The announcer in the fourth quarter is calling him Kevin. I mean, come on, bro.
Was he real? I don't like that guy. I don't even know what his name is. I don't like him. I don't know why.
Kevin's a good name. I like Kevin. I named my kid Kevin. It's a good name. But Kevin, come on, it's Kevon.
Yeah.
I mean, is it that complicated?
Mark Jones, to me, is a class act. I don't know why he's not calling this game, because their A crew is what? Mike Breen, Van Gundy, and Mark Jackson. But then, like, below that, you never really know who the B crew is. Make it Mark Jones, man. Make it Mark Jones and Doris Burke. That's my call.
Doris Burke.
Who was the other guy aside from
Rucco? Ryan Rucco.
Yeah, Ryan Rucco, and then what's his name? Richard Jefferson. Yeah. Well, I actually like him. He's actually
he's improved a lot.
Yeah, he's improved. You're right, man. Like I was really critical of him at the beginning, but he's starting to impress me. He's not biased, because that's for a commentator. I really respect someone who's just neutral. At least he gives that perception.
No, the freaking names. It's not Draymond Green. It's Draymond. It's not Stephen Curry. It's Stephen Curry. You know what I mean? It's not Clay Thompson. It's Clay Thompson. It's not Kevin Looney. It's Kevon Looney. It's the second round of the playoffs. You're getting paid a fat amount of money to broadcast nationally. That's embarrassing, man. That's embarrassing.
I missed that. Was it consistent? Like, was it happening a lot? I actually didn't hear that.
It happened 3 or 4 times down the stretch. It's like, dude, there's 15 freaking guys on the team. That means there's 30 on both teams. You're getting paid a lot of scratch. Maybe sit in your room and check the pronunciation guide, bro. Fair. Fair. Come on. His name's Kevon, and he's not a rookie. My goodness.
And this was like maybe the best, most important game of his career. Just like,
Kevin.
Rerun for him.
Unbelievable.
Year, by the way.
Yeah, 7th year. What are you guys going to get it right when he's in the league for a decade, when he finally is, got his pension set? I mean, my goodness. Golden State, though, plus 26 on the glass. If I had told you guys that the Warriors against this huge team that has Jaren Jackson and Steven Adams and is so big and physical inside, that there would be any game in this series that Golden State would be 70-44 on the glass. Plus 26.
Okay, that's insane, because I screenshotted the end of the third quarter stats so that I didn't have to look them up after, so it was 78-77, and at that point the rebounding difference was 49-37, which is great, but that's plus 12. That means they went even more ham on rebounds than I realized in the fourth.
They were plus 14 in the fourth, in other words.
Jesus, that'll do.
I mean, that was incredible. Wiggins was huge. Draymond, how about Draymond Green's line? 14 points, 16 rebounds, 8 times.
Go back to Wiggins for a second, though. Those threes he was making were insanely huge. I mean, when he's hitting those, things are going great for the Warriors, but those were clutch. Those were high pressure. Game was always tied, or maybe they were up by 1. I think they were even down by 2 for when he hit one of those. Yeah, huge, fantastic performance from Wiggins, man. Bravo.
He was 1 for 9 at one point, and he finished. What did he finish?
He hit 3 or 4 total. So
he started 1 for 9. He finished 7 of 16. So that means he went 6 of 7 down the stretch.
Oof, yeah,
and including 2 threes.
Yeah, and Wiggins was awesome, man.
And I know game 6 Clay's getting the love, and rightfully so. I mean, he was clutch, like just from the beginning,
carrying him early.
What Steph Curry was. I mean, he deserves some love too. Obviously, right? But he was big. Those threes he was hitting at the end, it was like long overdue. But once they started falling, it was just like backbreaker after morale just destroyer after soul crusher. I mean, whatever other metaphors you can come up with. It was just one after the other, and it was killing them. It was just demoralizing, and that's really what sealed it, I thought.
Well, it was an incredible game to watch. It really was. I mean, Memphis, they got a lot of character on that team. I mean, Dylan Brooks had the best game he's had in this series by far. He had 30 points, 11 of 28, hit 7 threes. Jaren Jackson had 12. Desmond Bane had 25. Looked very much like the Desmond Bane that we saw in the first round against the T-Wolves. But, Tyus Jones couldn't get it going. Clark couldn't get it going. They didn't really get a lot out of their bench. Zaire Williams was held to only 2 points. And, it's interesting. Mike Brown went to the veteran group. No minutes for Kuminga, no minutes for Moody. Otto Porter Jr., that was the big announcement right before tip. Otto Porter Jr., was he going to be able to go with the sore right foot? He couldn't go. So you're down Porter, and he used his veterans. He went to an 8-man rotation. He played only Poole and Lee and Bielitsa off the bench, and he played Steph and Clay and Wiggins and Draymond all about 40 minutes a pop. Green was at 39, but you hear what I'm saying. 30 for Thompson, 29 for Steph, 14, 15, and 8 for Green, 18 and 11 rebounds for Wiggins. That was huge. The fact that Wiggins hit the glass and had 11 rebounds, and then 12 off the bench for Poole, who still was not a good night for Poole. He was 4 of 15. He shot 2 of 11 from 3. But guys, the job that Golden State did against this team inside, here's the scary part. Golden State, wins this thing 110-96, a 14-point win over a really good Memphis team. Golden State turned it over 19 times. 19 turnovers. I mean, we know this is their issue, but if you had told me that they were going to turn it over 19 times in Game 6, there's no chance in hell I would have thought they would have gotten out of there with a 14-point win.
Agreed. Ryan, go for it, man.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the box score, I mean, neither team really shot all that well. And Memphis, I mean, it just felt like for the longest time, it's like, they were keeping Memphis in it with the turnovers, but it was like, it was constantly, 1-2 point game. And we were all just waiting for the Steph barrage, like Steph to hit 2 quick threes and just get the crowd going crazy and just like break their will. And it just didn't get going. I mean, I'm sure you guys were super nervous, even like 8 minutes left in the fourth. Like, this Memphis team, I will say this, good on you guys. If I was a Memphis fan, I'd be freaking stoked. I mean, I'd be really bummed tonight, but like those boys are coming. And you know what, Cy? I will concede. Okay, I need to concede that I actually saw Zach off the glass podcast layer who was on. I saw him tweet something. I shot it a retweet because I was like, that's it. That's just the truth of it. And it was on like the Jaw discussion, like, oh, is Jaw better than, are they better with Jaw? Like better without Jaw? That's crazy. And he was just like, the truth is like they are probably a better regular season team and like first 3 quarters team without Jaw, because the ball gets moving, everyone gets touches, all that. Their defense is so much better. But you saw tonight what you saw in Game 4. Wait, that's right. Game 4. So yeah. And it's that they needed Jaw down the stretch. They needed Jaw for that fourth quarter. He's the guy who's going to calm everything down and do that annoying thing where he rolls the ball and then he's just doing the same goddamn thing all over again, not letting the Warriors get in a rhythm. And tonight it was like, I mean, look, all those guys stepped up. Dylan Brooks went crazy, but once it got to the fourth quarter and the sphincters tightened, you see what happens.
It's funny.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Morant has
I know a
such
lot of what I'm
guts, doesn't he?
saying. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Sai. Go ahead, Sai.
No, I'm sorry, man. I got my AirPods aren't connecting tonight, so I'm relying on my speakers. I'm sorry if I talk
All
over
good.
anybody
No,
accidentally.
not at all.
I was just gonna say, like, look, I it sounds like I hate on John Morant a lot. I don't mean to. What I'm trying to say with him is he's undoubtedly gonna be a mega superstar. Like, he reminds me a lot of Derrick Rose, and that's an insanely high compliment because Derrick Rose was destined to be one of the all-time greats. I mean, he was an MVP at 23, and he led the Bulls to the Eastern Conference Finals, and just I think his third year. Don't quote me on those numbers, but they're close. But at the same time, but he's not there yet, and I'm not a big fan of the immaturity. I hate saying that because I know I sound like a crank, but I also would like, I don't know, call me old school, I guess. I like younger people to show some respect and just, to kind of like slow their roll as they're maturing into the game and into their professional lives. And he just acts like he's won a championship already. And that's just a huge turnoff for me. And when it comes to his game, like he's just not there yet in terms of making the people around him better. And that's just going to come with time. It's not a matter of if to me, it's a matter of when. Like, it'll come. It's just not there yet. But until that happens, this Grizzlies team is just sound. I mean, they're just so deep and they got so much talent beside him on that court. So in like 2 years, I could absolutely, maybe even next year. I mean, I'm thinking realistically, 2 years, but I could still, John Morant could be a megastar. I just feel like his health is going to be a huge issue. We're already seeing it. He's got to learn to like change his game a little bit so he's not constantly putting his body at risk. And it's not even like the takeoffs that is the issue with the knee. Like, this is a relatively new science in basketball where it's not the jumping that messes up the knee, it's the landing. Like, these guys that are like high flying like this, like Zion Williamson is another example. It's the landing that's putting all this pressure on the joints and on the bones and ligaments. And so it's just not smart to be consistently doing that. He's got to learn to kind of grow the rest of his game so he can preserve himself for the next 15 years, man. I want to also say this. Memphis, kiss my ass, man. You're out. Get the hell out of here.
I will say this. I mean, Zach Kleiman, their 33-year-old GM, who was the NBA's Executive of the Year, I believe the youngest to ever win the NBA's Executive of the Year. He put together a really nice looking club here. I mean, he really has. They've got guys like Bane who can space the floor. Zaire Williams can space the floor. They've got some, physical guys inside, and Jackson and Adams. And then you've got the guy who can put it on the deck and create in Ja, and Ja's going to get nothing but better. So I like the way this team's constructed. It seems like they've got some really nice pieces surrounding Ja. I think it all makes kind of sense. I think the pieces fit together. They do kind of, Ja's young. And what do a lot of young players do? We see it with Jordan Poole. They over dribble. Right. Yeah. They over dribble. They dominate the ball. They sometimes are ball stoppers. They kill the flow sometimes when you get great ball movement. And I think when you watch Memphis, they clearly move the ball pretty crisp without Ja. And they get caught staring at him and watching him when he's out there. But man, as time goes on, and he starts to develop his game, and they start to log more minutes on the floor together, they got a really nice mix. They're probably only maybe one or two pieces away from being a real threat, consistent threat in the Western Conference. Now, what is that piece? I mean, they need a couple pieces for sure, but Kleiman is the Executive of the Year for a reason, and he's 33. Some of these pieces are really nice. I like Zaire Williams. I like Brandon Clark. I like Desmond Bain. Tyus Jones is better than I even thought. And Jackson and Ja are terrific.
He's like a Draymond type where you want him on your team, but if he's on your team, he's dirtier for sure too.
Who's dirtier?
Brooks. Like, I would want, like, if he's on your team, I understand why you love him. I mean, he's tough as nails. He's annoying as all hell, and he put up, I don't know how many points tonight. It was over 30 easily, right?
Pretty insane considering the defense also that he has to play on the other end.
Yeah, he's but he's also dirty, man. You can't deny that. What he did to Steph tonight, that was just ridiculous. Like like take it easy, you know, like just slow your roll a little bit.
He
Like
kind of threw him down. I mean,
yes.
he threw him down to the ground. I'll tell you the other play that really bugged me was, man, how Desmond Bane is about 225 and he's running full bore and he clearly pushes off, with the left arm as he's running full bore up the court, and they called that a block. I mean, that wasn't a charge. I mean, my goodness. I mean, the guy's 225 and is using his arm like he's a lacrosse player or something, warding off the, the defense. He charged right in. I thought that was a blatant call. Golden State challenged and didn't get the benefit of the challenge. But, the other thing I got to say, we got to mention Kevon Looney, because there's times where people are like, they take drive-bys on Looney. Like he's just like, get him off the floor, like he's some disaster. And he's played a lot of smart basketball. I mean, you can say what you want about Kevon Looney. He's ground bound. He's not a great offensive player. Forget a great offensive player. He's almost a non-factor offensively. He's a beneath the rim kind of a guy for the most part. But man, the intelligence on the player, he's always in the right spot. He's really one of these guys that has such incredible length that his height, he doesn't get off the floor, but his long arms, he's great on closeouts on the perimeter. His timing inside's good. He understands his role. He positions his body so he has to minimize all dribbling. Like almost every time he catches the ball, he's right there, within his range. He doesn't do a bunch of things he can't do. He doesn't fire up a bunch of shots or try a bunch of fancy passes. He plays within himself. He knows the game. He always knows the sequence. You know what I mean? It's like we saw with who was the guy for the Cavs who forgot the J.R. Smith. I mean, there's the league has guys who don't know the sequences and don't know exactly what they should do in key moments. Kevon's never that guy. He always knows what to do. For the most part, he never makes any real gaffes, but 22 rebounds tonight and then 5 assists. I mean, that's the thing. 5 assists for Kevon Looney. He was a force tonight. He was an absolute force.
He was the biggest player out there. Like not literally, but he was just commanding the inside. It was insanely impressive. First of all, I don't think anyone in this group here was doubting Looney. I think we're all safe to say, right? Like we've all been Looney fans. And I mean, Kerr called his 82 game run this year a badge of honor, especially given with COVID and the pandemic. And, to be an Iron Man like that is incredibly impressive, given his health history, especially. But that stat line is not only absurd, but it's believable if you watch the whole game, because he was dominating that inside and he was a perfect fit. I hate to say this as a gloating manner, but I've been preaching this. Kevin Dana was with me on Monday and we were saying all week that Looney should be the starting center. And I'm glad we saw it with Ja Morant. It wasn't working. The Grizzlies are night and day with Ja and without Ja. Like with Ja, they move, they push. Ja's attacking the paint regularly. Like Looney's too slow for a Ja Morant offense. And the Nuggets series, he got exposed clearly. Like Jokic just ate him alive because Jokic is, the reigning 2-time MVP. But yeah, I mean, give him his due. He absolutely earned it. And I also think for the remainder of the playoffs, he's earned a spot. Like Jokic was just a horrible match for him. But when you look at the rest of the postseason, whether it's Dallas, whether it's Phoenix, whether it's Miami, whether it's Boston, whether it's Milwaukee, any of these remaining teams, Looney's fine. He's going to match up, because remember that it's an old cliche, but it's very true that the playoffs are about matchups, right? You're just playing one team over and over and over again, and it's all about how you match up with them. And Looney just was a horrible matchup for the Nuggets, and for the Grizzlies without Ja, he was a great matchup, and he's a great matchup for every remaining team. So I'm stoked. Kudos, yes. 22 rebounds, 11 offensive. That's insane.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Incredible.
What's the record? I mean, that has got to be up there, right?
Like the double, the split down the middle, 11 rebound or 11 offensive, 11 defensive. Also, I mean, we can talk about the turnovers tonight, but when he gets the ball, when they throw the ball to Looney, like I actually am not worried at all. Like a lot of the anxiety leaves my body. I'm like, all right, you know what? He's not going to do something stupid. He's not going to do some stupid force. Like he's just going to hold the ball and like wait till something happens, maybe screen. Because that man, I like the way they came out, but that was frightening when Clay was started off, I think 5 for 6 or 6 for 7 in the first quarter, and they were only up 2. And it was like, what is happening? Like that? What?
Totes McGoat says Looney's a free agent at the end of the year. And I did look at the Warrior roster this morning, and I'm like looking at that going, he doesn't have a contract for next year. What do you think? A game like this is the kind of a game that makes other teams around the league say, you know what, that guy, seriously. I would not be shocked if he got an offer based on tonight's game. I mean, people take note when you're in high pressure situations in the playoffs, who rises to the occasion. I mean, and then you look at what he did in the regular season, and you look at Golden State's record and how many games did Clay miss and how many games did Draymond miss, and Looney was out there. When I saw Looney come out of UCLA, guys, I thought, you know what, this guy can't play in the league. He won't be able to run up and down the floor without breaking down. He's found a way to kind of change his body. So, I mean, his body's in way better shape. He's way stronger and in way better physical shape than he was when he came out of UCLA. I think he had, was it a hip? Was it a hip injury that he had? And then, his hips are healthy. I don't know what kind of long-term, prognosis he has, because of the mileage as far as, how long can he play in the NBA. But you know what? He'd be a guy that if you can get him at a number that's reasonable, bring him back. And then he's your security blanket against Wiseman's meniscus, swelling constantly. You don't know what you're getting from Wiseman, but man, imagine if you had James Wiseman right now. I mean, really nice. They would be stacked up front if they had Wiseman and Looney. But yeah, Looney, it's funny. Totes McGoats here says that Looney will be dropped because they're going to pay Poole the max.
Look. I mean, you got to look at the fact that for each one of these home games, the Warriors are averaging, and this is a ballpark figure, but $10 million in revenue for each game. So, and that's just from the in-game stuff, like from just the tickets and stuff like that. So that's not including all the extra TV money, which is where the really big bucks come in. So they better reward people. I mean, the further they go in this, the hundreds of millions more they're realistically raking in. Looney makes $5 million a year. I've heard that. Again, this is before the postseason, but I've heard that he's going to ask for a slight bump to $6 million. So like somewhere in the $3 or $18 million range, and that the team is reportedly willing to give it. I mean, it's
Kerr loves him. He calls him Loon. He loves him.
Yeah, exactly. And it's insane. The influence of Kerr is very strong. Like even though Myers is the GM and the president, like him and Kerr talk all the time, like almost daily. And Kerr has a huge say, and rightfully so, as a 3-time champion. So if Kerr likes him, there's a good chance he's going to stay. So I wouldn't be overly concerned. And to keep put in perspective as well, the last time he was a free agent, or maybe it was 2 times. No, it was the last time. He got a 3-year deal. He was also in high demand. Like people were talking then a lot like they are now, because I think they had just finished beating the Cavaliers, or they were just 1 year removed from the second title. And realistically, 5 years was the best he got. And so you're right. He might get a big offer, but he also might not have a ton of demand. I mean, there are a lot of players like him, and he's such a Warriors system guy that I'm optimistic that it'll be like a 3 or $18 million deal he'll come back for. And I hope he does, right? I mean, we all love him. Go Loon.
SG Sports Talk channel says, Rye, can you send the call in link?
Yeah, you want to do it?
Yeah, so we'll send the call-in link. It's Clarence Beeks. I love this one. Porter took the minimum. Guys, relax. It wouldn't be a post-game show unless somebody said relax. I'm a little bit surprised that that Looney played as well as he did in this game, but I'm really surprised that Golden State dominated on the glass this way. It just seemed like as the series progressed, that Memphis was doing a better job inside, and it seemed like I think Rye commented after the last game that, man, the physical nature of Adams seems like it's having an effect on the Warriors the longer the series went. And Adams had 10 boards tonight, but no block shots, only 4 points, only took 3 shots, didn't get to the line very much. So that was a big advantage for Golden State. Actually, Memphis did shoot 20 free throws, only 11 for Golden State, but that's kind of more the way Memphis plays. They draw more fouls. Who do you guys now? There are people who are around this team that cover the Warriors that are on record as saying that they prefer to take on the Suns than the Mavericks. Have you guys seen that? Yeah, there are people.
Murmurs.
No, I saw people tweeting about it the other day. That people who cover this team saying, you know what, I think Phoenix would be an easier opponent in the conference finals than even the Dallas Mavericks. What do you guys think?
Ryan, go for it, please.
Well, I mean, if you're factoring in home court, like I think that swings it, even if it's 50, or even if you're leaning 55, 45 in favor of Dallas. I mean, I would say to this point, like in the past, the recipe to beat the Warriors, that was what they were saying around the league is like, you have the Houston model where, you're taking super, dribbling the ball until the shot clock's almost done. And then, it's just one guy holding the ball and it's super slow and it's a lot of fouls and then swinging it out for threes and whatever. And like Harden doing his whole like heliocentric thing. And it's like LeBron sort of similar thing. Like it kind of gets them out of their rhythm. Like that's how I feel like Ja was really good down the stretch because he was just like milking the ball. And then it was like we would try and get it all back in like one play. And then all of a sudden, boom, their ball. And then they're milking it. So, I mean, to that extent, that's how Luka plays. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I still am not sure, like, if we played them, like, what would be the play? Should we just let Luka get as many as he can and make sure that the role players don't get involved? Or, double team Luka and make sure he doesn't get off? So, yeah, I'm not really sure, but I would have to say I'd rather Dallas.
I mean, I'd much rather play Dallas, but I can see why a couple people might be afraid of Dallas. They've got some underrated players. Bullock, who played at Carolina, can flat out shoot it. He can shoot. He's a lights out shooter. He had 19 in the last game in 40 minutes, and he hit 5 threes. When he gets it rolling, if you give Bullock an open look, that's down. And then Brunson's playing at a really efficient level. Powell is a smart player. Doncic is a superstar, but I'm looking at their team going, I mean, Davis Bertans, okay. Dinwiddie, okay. I just don't see it. To me, I'd bring on Dallas all day, every day before Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix has got Crowder and Bridges and Ayton and Paul and Booker and Cam Johnson and Cameron Payne. And I mean, Shamet can hit threes. And I mean, I don't know. To me, Phoenix, JaVale McGee, I think is a pretty good player. I mean, I'm much more afraid of Phoenix than Dallas.
I want to first start off by saying the Warriors just eliminated what is easily their toughest remaining competition in the postseason. So no matter who they play the rest of the way, it will not be as difficult as the Memphis Grizzlies. With that said, I would love, first of all, for you, Larry, to call out those people. Just I love keeping receipts, man. So if you remember who that is, please tell me, even if it's
who said they'd rather have Dallas? I think it was Bonte. I think it was Bonte on 95.7 The Game.
Who did?
I think Bonte said he'd rather play Dallas. He'd rather play Phoenix than Dallas.
Well, first of all, I'm not going to respect his opinions. I'll leave it there.
Right, well, I'm just telling you. You wanted a receipt. I gave you a receipt.
I love it. No,
do with it what you want.
And that's my response, dude. I just don't. That's I mean, wasn't that guy was pushing buttons 1 minute, next minute he's on TV?
Let's
on
not
the radio.
badmouth Bonte.
Not everything makes sense in this world, but what are you going to do? Look. Dallas is obviously preferred, because you get home court. I mean, Coach I'm gonna laugh every time I call him that. But now, coach was astute. He, and the fact that home court advantage is huge, man. The Warriors are undefeated at home in the postseason, so you want home court, and so obviously Dallas is the pick. But beyond that, Dallas is a million times easier to defend. Luka Doncic is an ideal Draymond Green matchup because here's what's going to happen in that series if the Mavericks do pull off Game 7. And I have pity for the people in Phoenix for the simple reason that I know none of you want Luka Doncic in a Game 7. That is not an ideal situation to find yourself in, even if you're the favorite. I'm curious to know what the line is on that game, by the way. What's up?
I think it's 6.
Who's favored?
Suns.
By 6. Oh, I would not take that. Okay, so anyways, Dallas is, I mean, the defense is simple for how are you going to schematically, prepare for him, which is Draymond on Luka, Wiggins is a shadow, and the rest is just man. And you're going to easily win. Like, because Dallas is not going to stop the Warriors offense. Luka is not a stout defender, I mean, it's that is his flaw. He hasn't really nailed the defensive side of it yet. It's a similar issue that plagues Ja and plagues a lot of these youngsters. Like, these guys are amazing. I mean, the Lukas of the world, even Jaren Jackson Jr. this series, Ja. I mean, these 22-year-olds that are, I mean, Tatum is what, 23? It's fascinating that at this age they're doing what they're doing, but defense is the last thing a player picks up, especially a great player. And they have not figured that out yet. So Dallas is not going to shut down this Warriors team. They won this season series 3-1. But if you look at those games, you can't really judge it just like with the other two series because the Warriors weren't fully stacked. Some key player was out for all those games. And yet, despite that, in the 3 losses, these were nail biters. Like, Dallas barely beat the Warriors. So when the Warriors are fully healthy, they've already shown, man, they're going to beat whoever they play. And sorry for the abundance of confidence, you're
feeling very cocky.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, but it's like the cockiness is not. I try to be pragmatic. It's like, do you really think Jalen Brunson, after what we just saw, like Jalen Brunson is going to suddenly light up the Warriors, or like that Luka's really just going to really outplay Draymond? Has anyone ever outplayed Draymond, especially in the playoffs?
By the way, how great does Draymond play in these gotta have it games?
Exactly.
I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, we talk a lot about Draymond and the officials and the fouls and some of the where he loses his mind out on the floor. But you know what has to be brought up right when you're bringing that up is that this guy in the biggest games plays freaking huge consistently. Go back and look at the biggest games. He has 0 AWOL games in any of the biggest games. Seriously, he has played some of the greatest games. His greatest lines are in some of the biggest games Golden State has played. So, to me, he's a Hall of Fame. Lock it up. Jaguayo 56 is making a $5 donation. Thank you, Jaguayo 56. This is Krueg. Great win, 70 rebounds, amazing. A little concerned with the turnovers.
Yes.
But the tough physical series gets this team battle tested. Let's go Dubs. Jaguayo 56. Thanks for the $5. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, 70 rebounds. I mean, that is amazing, really, when you think about it. How concerning are the turnovers? Is it something that they can do something about? Or is this just when you have ball movement and body movement and the ball's moving and bodies are moving off the ball, that this is just par for the course and you're just simply going to have to live with it? Or I'll say this. I'm watching this game and I'm thinking to myself, I can't remember a team that was this careless with the basketball. It's very frustrating to watch. Many of those turnovers were not forced. They were just unforced turnovers. How loose can you be with the ball? My goodness. I mean, this team with all the great players that are battle tested and have rings, they are so loose with the basketball. And I can't remember a team of this caliber, a championship caliber team. That's what this is. Who is so loose with the basketball? Can't, or is it just the style of the way they play lends itself to this and we should just get used to it? Give me your guys' thoughts.
They remind me. Sorry. Did you say Ryan first? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say they remind me of a team that's trying to emulate Showtime, but just not quite as good at it. And so they turn the ball over like that. This is what Showtime did.
They like to entertain. In other words, you're saying they like to entertain.
Yeah, they like to entertain, and they do, and that's just who they are. And they're just really reckless sometimes. You're right. It's just like with Draymond's emotions. It's, you got to take the bad with the good, and fortunately, the good is so good that you live with it. Yeah, but I also think a part of it was Memphis. Like they were just there. I mean, I don't remember a defense like that in recent history. I always, when you always think of like the toughest Warriors opponents in the postseason during this whole run, right? Like the Cavaliers are probably number one just because they did beat them once.
Right.
But I think a close second is the Rockets, right? Like 2018 pushed them to 7 games. And I'm trying to think, like, where do the Grizzlies fall? Like in that, like, are they below the Rockets? Are they above the Rockets? And they're certainly like in the discussion, and that's how good they were. That 2018 Rockets team was damn good. And, so the part of the turnover thing was them. I do have to give them credit, even if they weren't like directly having their hands on the ball. Like they're so damn long and aggressive, and like they just never would give up on any plays. And so, like part of that was just, and part of it I think was little nerves. It's been 3 years since they've gone through a series like this. So, it doesn't just come back like that. And I don't know. I'm not overly concerned. It was annoying, but again, man, I'm sorry. I don't know how to behave without coming off the cocky because, dude, I'm seeing that finish line. They're halfway there officially, 8 down, 8 to go. And I'm just seeing it. I'm going, damn, dude, that's a 4th title in 8 years. That could be like a Steph Finals MVP in the distance there. Like, just quelling all talk, negative talk about his legacy. And I'm pumped, man. As someone who loves his team, I'm pumped. And I don't know how to not come off as cocky because they're playing damn good basketball right now, Larry and Ryan.
No doubt. No doubt.
Really
right. What do you think? How concerning are the turnovers in your mind to their pursuit of the title?
So the turnovers, I mean, in this series, they're super concerning. To some extent, you got to take take the good with the bad because that's just how they play. Like they play a creativity-based offense where it's like they thrive in chaos. They thrive in chaos, getting people out on the break. But the thing about Memphis, and this was what a lot of the analytic people were saying, is that it's kind of like the way the Warriors are run their offense. This is the last team you want to do that against. They're the number one defense in terms of switching defense in the league. You put them in pick and roll, like the way that like the Timberwolves did, and they're barbecue chicken. Like they're like towards the bottom of the league, like 29, something like that. So I really think that the matchup had a large part to do with it. They were just so good at just staying home and staying on their guy. They were not biting on anything. Anytime Draymond goes in the lane, like they're not biting, they're not moving. So then we do that loop pass behind their head. It's just like like it's going to get picked. So yeah, I mean, I would say that Memphis, though, to Sai's point, I'm waiting for the dust to settle at the end of all this. If the Warriors end up, smoking their next 2 opponents, then I'm willing to start considering them such a good team. But I don't know, Lair, I think you probably feel similarly to me. Like in the past, during these Warriors finals runs, every year I was so incredibly confident that they were going to clutch it at all times, even at the worst moments, like versus the Rockets. I always just knew they were going to clutch it. This is the first year where I'm like, I have this like cloud over my NBA vision forecasting. Like I'm like, I don't quite know who the best teams are and like who's going to win these. Like, you know what I mean? It's like every time Dallas wins, then everyone's like, oh, you know what? I think Dallas is going to beat the Suns. Philly comes back, wins 2 in a row. Oh, you know what? I think they just pose a bad. So it's just I'm just so clouded. I honestly have no idea like who the best teams are.
By the way, if you're watching Ryan talk right now and you're thinking, why? It almost looks like he's like, I don't know, like sitting on the ground. Doesn't he look like he's sitting on the ground? That's because he is sitting on the ground. He's sitting on the ground. Rye, show us the apartment. Rye's moving out of his apartment in Southern Cal. So he's got all the furniture was moved out today. So he's literally sitting in an apartment, a furnitureless apartment on the ground.
Serial killer
for the post game. So if you think Rye's sitting on the ground, he is sitting on the ground. Rebel 444 says, I want Dallas because I don't want Chris Paul yelling at a teenage Dub fan. That's great. My man Jim Mole, my fraternity brother from Sac State, who looks a little bit like Fidel Castro in that picture, Jimmy.
Yes.
Once again, Jimmy Mole donating $19.99. Look at that.
Damn.
He's rolling fat. He says, "Happy Friday, fellas. Good wins all around." So Jimmy's
Is this like
referencing
a scheme, Larry, that you're running where you're like actually mailing drugs, and this is like you're calling it donations to a radio show?
exactly. Jim, thanks for the donation. Check your back door for 3 knocks. Yeah. Happy Friday, fellas. Good wins all around. He's referencing that the Warriors won, but the Giants also won. Giants won in St. Louis to start the road trip. Nice little win for the Giants. Was it 9-2 was the final or 8-2 was the final? Giants hit the long ball. Casale went deep, 2-run shot to make it 8-1. Longoria had an RBI double. Crawford had an RBI single. Yaz had a 2-run double. Luis Gonzalez had an RBI single. And the Giants, how about the Giants? They were looking like they were in a free fall. They started the year with Brandon Belt 13-6. Then Belt went out with COVID. They went 1-6. Now Belt is back from COVID. They're 6-0. 6-0. So the Giants are 6-0. What's that, Ryan?
Buster Posey Day, undefeated since.
Yeah, exactly. Undefeated since Buster Posey Day. So Giants win, Warriors win. It is a celebratory Friday night in the Bay for sure, and we're having a good time on the Krueg show. And let's get back to Golden State though, because to me my favorite sequence of the entire game, and it's probably everybody's to be honest, but my favorite sequence was Jones misses. Curry hit a deep 3 to make it 102-92. So they're up 10 at this point. Jones then misses. Draymond, I think, picks it up off the glass, dribbles down, and the Warriors put up a shot. They miss. Looney gets the offensive board. They put up another shot. They miss. Looney gets a second offensive board, finds Klay Thompson, who rails the 3. Timeout with just under 4 minutes to play. It's 105-92. Dagger shot from Klay. I loved that sequence. I loved it for Klay. I loved it for Loon. I'm going to call him Loon because I'm trying to buddy up to him. Now I love him. Now I'm going to be with Kerr. Way to go, Loon. Loon with a couple of big offensive rebounds, and Klay striped the 3 ball. There's something about Klay though in Game 6, and I just love seeing him, get to the level. I mean, and there's something. I mean, Steph is the guy, right? I mean, if you said Steph, Klay, Draymond, you're saying Steph first. Steph is he's the alpha, but there's something about when Klay Thompson gets into a hot streak that is unlike almost anybody that I can think of, maybe that I've ever watched. As far as it just feels like, maybe because I was at the 37-point third quarter against the Sacramento Kings. I was there that night with my daughter and my son. But not just that game. I mean, all Warrior fans know exactly what I'm talking about. When this guy goes in fuego, it just feels like it's never going to end. It just feels like everything coming off his hand looks like it's going in. And there is no such thing as a bad shot. I mean, maybe that's me overstating it, but man, the Klay hot streaks are greater than any. I've never seen any player quite like Klay Thompson. Yeah. He's so pure. It comes off his fingertips like butter. Yes. It's just the softest release. It's almost like you're not even 100% sure if the ball's actually in his hands or if it's just kind of like if he's just kind of guiding and roll. It's crazy. He's got the most beautiful release. And once he gets into a mode, it's like, feed him. Yes. Like everybody on the team wants to feed him. I don't know. Well, I mean, I've been watching basketball for decades. I can't think of anybody that when he gets hot is quite like Klay Thompson.
I don't think there's ever been. I don't think there's ever been, like, I mean, in terms of the touch on his shot, like to me, it's like, it's very part Larry Birdish, part Chris Mullinish, right? Like it's just so natural. I love the spin. Especially even when he misses, you see just the way it rattles, kind of like this. It's almost like the ball's still trying to get in the inside the hoop. It's so perfect of a form he has. It's wild, man. Yeah, and Game 6 Clay. I'm finally looking at these numbers. Just because I haven't really like observed them closely, and a lot does stick out. Like, I mean, they went with a really short rotation. I'm sorry if you already said that and I missed it, but they really won't. I mean, Bielitsa only played 8 minutes. I thought it was a solid 8 minutes. I mean, he didn't do much statistically, but he was a force. Like, you saw when he was out there, like he wasn't really playing in the post that much, but by lingering out on the arc, he was setting screens. He was playing the post out there a little bit with great passing, but most importantly, he was drawing defenders away, and it gave the Warriors a chance to attack the paint. Like, that's what he gives you. I don't know why they're so hesitant to put him out there, especially when Otto Porter Jr. is back. You can give Bielitsa those Damian Lee minutes. I mean, look, Damian Lee was okay tonight, but he was also he wasn't that great. I mean, I don't know. I'm definitely on the side of people who are critical.
Why are you going to run Damian Lee down?
I think you do better.
I'm joking. I'm joking. We bring in Coach himself, Dan Coach Emilio. Coach, I'm going to call you Coach now, because if I can call you Coach, I want to call you Coach. Coach, what'd you think? You got the Giants hat going. You got the blue Warrior shirt going. We got a double win tonight. How are the dogs sleeping? How's things going at the Coach Emilio humble abode?
Great. Dogs are doing great. And was there a Warrior game tonight, or did they?
That was the talk. I don't know. I mean, I was watching Fear Factor. No, the Warriors were going on tonight, and they got a little win.
What has Fear Factor last been on? I love that reference. I love it. It's so random. I love it. It's been 15 years, right? Since it's on the air.
I'm turning my head because I got the Dodger game on here, and they're in the bottom of the ninth. And,
are they still losing?
They're losing 9-7, leadoff single by Trey Turner. Great.
There you go. Look at Coach. Coach has got one eye on the Dodgers' demise.
Okay, hopefully Phillies will hang on, but no, Warriors. It's the first time that I actually got really frustrated with their passing, and it almost was like the crowd was ready to start booing at one point.
They didn't start.
Quite. It sounded like they barely, yes, but it was like
there were murmurs. There was like little murmurs and boos towards Steph there. I heard it. Yeah. It was people were frustrated. Coach, I'm with you.
Yeah, here's where they turned the game around, and they finally started slowing things down and running the offense through Curry. When Curry comes up with the ball, he has time to look over things. He can cut to the hoop, and there's playing a step behind him, and then everyone sags in, and then you kick it out to Wiggins. But when Green is running the offense, you don't have to guard him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why they don't go through Steph more. They used to a lot in 15, 16, when they were making those great runs. Everything ran through Steph for the most part.
That's a great call, Coach.
Are you saying the Warriors don't know what they're doing?
I'm saying that.
I'm just joking.
Yeah. No, I just think that Draymond, Draymond wasn't a bad shooter back in 15, 16. He went for like 39 in one of the playoff games in
Game 7.
Cleveland. Yeah.
Game 7 triple-double.
He was
he used to shoot it. Didn't he have a year? I mean, maybe
40%.
Ryan could look up his 3-point shot. I thought 38 was his career high.
Maybe it was.
But I mean, that's right. He's not shooting at 38% now. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with his shot.
He's not shooting 38% from the paint.
He did good tonight, though.
He did
good tonight.
Yeah, he played with, it's just the frustrating. I mean, these games wouldn't really even be that close if they cut their turnovers down to about 10 a game.
By the way, James Foster's donating here, guys, $4.99. He says Draymond scored 14 points. Warriors won by 14 points. Dude sacked up and took some shots.
There you go.
That's a good call.
I've got the stat line for 15-16.
Okay, well, hold on a second. Let me read this one from Kid Tricksta, who's donating. He says, "Love the show, Krueg. Should we be concerned with Steph Curry? He's not good in the playoffs. I think
No.
it's time to trade Steph. It's time. He needs to
done.
go. He sucks. I'd rather have Seth. They've got
Wait,
the
wait.
wrong Curry. He's weighing them down. He's hurting the team, and they ought to sit him. No, he's
They've
going to
got
be
time
fine.
to trade him before the next series. Yeah.
Wait. I got to get Sai's take on this because I know it's probably frustrating him because it frustrates me. How about the fact that the NBA announced that they're now going to have Eastern and Western Conference MVP awards, the Magic Johnson and the Larry Bird Award? Steph Curry would have 6, 5, or what?
True.
He's been in 5. He would have gotten all 5.
I didn't.
Is that
think
true?
about it
Was that today's announcement? I didn't hear
yesterday,
Yeah,
but
Wow.
I didn't think about that until just now. That you're
He's
right.
the highest points per game in Western Conference Finals history, I think.
You're right. Stephen Curry would have a shitload of them.
Yeah, and then people could change it.
Yeah, that's crazy. I did not even think of it that way. That's wild. You're right. It immediately frustrates me. I'm with you.
What do you guys think of Kid Tricksta's? Well, it's a great name, by the way, Kid Tricksta. But what do you think of Kid Tricksta's premise? Should any concern at all about Curry? He hasn't really. The last game, it was bizarre that he didn't take a shot for 7 minutes at the beginning of the game.
Totally.
Tonight, he
They nailed
seemed
it in.
more
They
aggressive
nailed
at
it
the
in.
beginning of the game. What's that? He mailed it in.
I think the energy was clearly not there in Game 5. I don't think. I mean, as weird as it sounds, I don't think they came into it thinking, "Fuck this." We're just sorry. I'm going overboard with swearing. I apologize for that. But I don't think
This
they
is
came
a family
into
show. This is a family show.
Sorry, man. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I
All right, we're gonna have to mute him. I mean, that's just wrong.
Oh,
You can't be swearing on the show. I mean,
we
Cy.
got sponsors here.
Okay, before we unmute Cy, what's going on with Cy? I mean, he's the host of Locked On Warriors. I mean, guys. I mean, he's here, but he can hear us, but he can't talk right now. We've muted him. You swear once, all right. Hey, you know what, guys? Boys being boys, right? Boys being boys. You swear twice. I don't know. Maybe it was a poor upbringing. Maybe he had a rough
I don't
childhood.
know. No, if he swears a third time, he might just be the actual host of the show.
If he swears a third time, it's like, I mean, you wonder if somebody's in the room with him. Is he trying to impress somebody? Like, hey, watch, I'll swear, honey. Hey, watch this. I'm going to drop an F-bomb here.
No way.
What do you guys think? What's going on with Cy right now? Because he is the host of Locked On, and I know he takes these things big. He gets depressed with the losses. He's rolling fat with the wins.
I love
They've won, and he is now sworn 3 times.
Hey, he's just
on
like
this show.
Draymond Green. He plays with emotion.
I was just about ready to swear. Justin Turner hit a 2-run homer to tie it up.
Son of a. All right. On that note, let's bring Cy back. Cy, can you clean it up? I mean, a little bit. I mean, there's young people who are big fans. Totes McGoats says, "I love drunk Cy," but not everybody does.
I don't drink much, so even just a little.
Patola 45 says you're allowed to swear on YouTube.
That's true.
All right, that's
true.
But, all right, we'll drop some F-bombs then.
It's weird. Like if you're trying to make money on it, you got to be careful. It's kind of weird.
Jimmy says it's 11 o'clock and it's YouTube. Free Cyrus Saatsaz. There we go.
You gotta let him cook.
I don't think there should be any concern about Stephen Curry. I really don't. First of all, he was
Ricky C says, "What an a-hole." That is awesome. Jimmy's just feeling. Jimmy's rolling. Jimmy must be rolling at the office. He gave $20 earlier. Now he's giving $9.99 to just say free Cy. Look at Jimmy,
man. I want some of that.
That's that Lambda Chi Alpha money right there from Jimmy Mole.
There you go.
Damn. So he made all the right decisions. There always going to be a few smart guys in the fraternity just to keep it on campus. You know what I mean?
So
$9.99 to say free Cy. $9.99. Look at that.
Wow.
What does everyone else think? Because I'm not concerned about Steph, but if you do think about it, he was like full like peak of his powers nuclear Steph for like the first like whatever 25 games of the year, and then obviously he had that kind of weird thing with the 3-point record, and I think he was pressing a little bit, and then it was like, oh my god, he never really dominates All-Star games, and then he just dropped a 50 burger in an All-Star game, and I was like, oh my god, Steph Curry's the best player in the world. And now I'm like, yeah, and now it's like I still like, I mean, he's still great, and I think part of it is the matchup. But I mean, I don't know. I guess I would just like to maybe see like a 42-point game in this next series. That would feel nice.
Holy crap, Urus Familia. What the hell is he serving up? My goodness. Urus Familia served it up to Turner. 9-9 now, bottom 9, Dodger Stadium. We'll keep you updated.
Yeah.
Sorry, but what the hell? Urus Familia? Come on.
Yeah.
The only figure that's gone down. Steph just had a weird year. Like the only number that went down was his 3-point percentage. It started when he was pursuing the 3-point record. He himself admitted that he got caught up in it. He felt the pressure. He was forcing a lot of shots, and that was for an extended time. He got into bad habits, and then right when he started snapping out of it, Draymond gets hurt.
Yeah,
and that, if anything, revealed
that
was the first time he ever got injured. With a serious injury, and all of a sudden we see Steph without Dre for the first time in like 10 years nearly, and he clearly relies on him. The timing between those two is impeccable. But ultimately when you look at his numbers, he still averaged 2 points more than he did during his first MVP season. The only number that went down was his 3-point percentage and field goal percentage. I guess it's 2 numbers, and people were panicking over it. I'm not panicking over it. He looks as strong as ever out there. He's more durable, I feel like, than he's ever been in his career. Even, I mean, he came back from that foot injury like no problem. I mean, right when the playoffs started, he was ready to go. So I think
Jackson J says it's fatigue.
Closeout game against an insanely tough opponent.
It's not fatigue.
Yeah,
you don't.
No,
you're saying what? You're saying Jackson J doesn't know what he's talking about, Danny?
I'm saying it's not fatigue.
By the way, Chris Young here says Middlecoff drops F-bombs like Steph drops threes. That's our buddy who does a podcast.
Can I bring up something real quick that's really weird to me? And I love, maybe I'm delusional, but I'd love to get some clarity. This
Ranger 44 says F the Dodgers. Go ahead, Si. I'm sorry. Let me interrupt you. I don't want to interrupt.
Porter Jr. gets this foot injury, right? Like no one knows when it happened. No one knows how it happened. No one knows what the injury actually is. There's no video footage of when the injury occurred. What's going on here? Like,
you're saying he's jaking it? You saying Otto Porter's jaking it?
I'm saying what's going why is this not? Why has no one uncovered this? It's bizarre to me. It's been 2 days.
Seriously, where's Anthony Slater?
What's going on?
Come on, Slater.
On the broadcast the other night, I saw something when he went into the stands and he looked like he got tangled up with the fans, and then showed him slight limp, and that was pretty much it. So, he was listed as questionable going into tonight. So I think he'll be ready by next Wednesday when they open up against hopefully Dallas.
Romo 2001 donating, get $2. He says, Larry, you need a swear jar when Si's on.
Yeah.
Si, a swear jar? What do you think?
You.
Si says, F your swear jar is what you're saying.
Oh, wow. No, Curry,
so
he hasn't. I don't think he's lost anything. I'll piggyback on that. We're not.
Go ahead. We're not going to all be together until the next playoff game. So,
which is going to be what night? Is that Tuesday night? Wednesday night?
Wednesday
night.
Yeah,
that's great. Which is another reason,
right? I mean, we might as well tackle it.
Yeah, seriously. You let it all hang out, man. Seriously. I mean, you're the locked on host. I mean, these are your guys, right? You've been living and dying with it. It was an emotional night, right? I mean, but a swear jar when Si's on, what would that be? Like people pay extra money to hear Si swear?
No, I think it's like every time that he swears, there's a
donation.
Me. Yeah.
Kangaroo court here.
Rebel 444. I enjoy the video box of musical chairs. Oh yeah, we can move people around. Yeah, I'll move people around. Hey, oh, hey, hey, oh. There we go. Rye sitting on the floor. Si eyelids at half mask. Dan Coach Emilio, he's very wise.
Yeah, and head
and
turn.
Then here I am with
we go to the top of the 10th. The Phillies get out of it. Okay, 9-9.
Great. So now we torture 9-9 Dodgers Phillies at Dodger Stadium. Is that the last game in the big leagues going on? That is. Huh?
I think so. Got it.
You could tell your listeners and viewers, Larry, if they ever have a salary cap or contract questions, I'll happily answer them. I see them show up there every once in a while.
Oh, sweet.
You're like the new capologist. You're our capologist.
I love that.
I try to be. I try. I mean,
he's our Prague.
Wait, I got
yeah, exactly. He's the capologist.
I have a question for Cy.
Go ahead, Rye. You're sitting on the floor. Ask any question you want.
Literally, yeah.
So I've been trying to kind of come up with theories as to why, like, it just seems like, I don't know, because the numbers are there for Steph, but it just seems like something's maybe missing a little bit. And what I'm kind of theorizing is so once Draymond went out, I felt like he took over a little bit more of the Draymond roles, which means, like, you know, basically being the point guard. Like, Draymond basically was the point guard during the regular season. They're both there. And Steph kind of took on a little bit more of like a point guard-y role where he was trying to get other people involved, and he was kind of more picking his spots to really score. And obviously he thrives way better when he can be off ball and all that great stuff. I feel like he's carried a little bit of that into the playoffs where like everyone was saying, like, oh, why didn't he take a shot until like 7 minutes of the last game? But it's like he's kind of playing the like more of a point guard-y type deal where he's, you know, trying to get other people involved, and then it seems like, you know, he's going to come in and, you know, close the quarters / you know, close the game out. So I don't know.
I got another theory.
Okay.
What's your theory, Coach?
This is
hold
kind
on a second.
of
Hold that. Let me get you in the main box.
In the main box.
All right, there we go.
Little bit
Coach
of
is in the main box.
A little bit of in the main box, and I'm going to go a little out of the box here.
Okay.
You got to remember, these guys are human, right? So they have emotions.
Are you saying relax?
No, I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
This may not even be it. Steph's a total professional, and these guys are professional athletes, but at the same time, they're human. And what happened in the offseason? Steph, Dell, and Sonia, and they're usually at these games together. And, you know, I mean, for his mom and dad to be married for as long as they were, and everything from what we saw looked very like a tight-knit family. It may be affecting him.
Danny's getting muted. He got too serious there. He got too serious.
Also,
when you're bringing up divorce and families breaking up, I mean, you're too serious for the post game. Don't you guys think? I mean, that almost is that requires muting right there, right? I mean, come on, you're gonna bring in real family stuff and real. I mean, that's come on. I mean, look, muted. I mean, just no other way around that.
Well, Rick Barry and I tackled that subject
we'll bring it back
extensively.
And you tackled what? Tackled what
subject? It was interesting that Del Curry and Sonia Curry split up. It was and you know they were taking their fight rather publicly because TMZ picked up the story. And I mean, I would believe it if it were not for the fact that Steph and Curry had one of the hottest starts in NBA history this year. And that was after all this stuff initially happened. I think ultimately when Draymond, first of all, the 3-point chase played a huge part in it because he got caught up in it and he started forcing shots, trying to break the record. It meant a lot to him. And then once that happened, then almost right after Draymond gets hurt, and for the first time again in Steph's career, pretty much, you know, since Draymond Green's been on the team and been involved on a full-time basis, we're talking like 2014, somewhere around there. You know, Steph has always had Draymond as his primary guy, you know, whether it's as a defender, as a pick and roll guy, as a screener, as the vocal leader, right, to take the slack off. So when Draymond got hurt for the first time ever, he's never missed games like that. That was the first serious injury he's ever had. Although I think it was a U coach that had the conspiracy theory that maybe he wasn't really that hurt, but whatever. Regardless,
I'm saying he was hurt, but I just think he would have, if it was
stayed out longer.
If he stayed out a little longer to get healthy and get his legs back under him too.
Yeah.
You're questioning his work ethic. That belongs mute. Definitely mute after that. I mean, the way you're questioning his effort. No, I'm joking. We'll bring him back. We do have a lot of theories, though, guys. Ricky C says, Larry, you're having too much fun rotating the video boxes. Thank you. I am. I'm easily amused. What can I say? Jackson JC, seems like Steph is running around less to get open. That's kind of interesting. This one's interesting too. Totes My Goats, which is a great name. Steph's just too generous. He just needs to take over more, especially in the Western Conference Finals and the Finals. That's kind of interesting that Steph maybe should be a little bit more, a little bit more selfish, and he isn't a selfish player. This is interesting too.
I don't agree.
Well, maybe
with
we'll read these
man.
last two and then weigh in. Ron Hubbard says Curry's playing like a mid-30-year-old player, and he's picking his spots. That's interesting. And then Jackson J says Steph seems to be working less to get open. To me, though, I think Ron Hubbard here says Curry's playing like a mid-30-year-old player and picking his spots. Isn't that really what we're seeing? He's just kind of picking his spots. No,
I think Cy hit it the other night when he talked about Curry really playing great defense. I mean, he stuffed. Who was that? Baines or who did?
No, Dylan Brooks. He blocked.
Yeah, but he's. What was the knock on Steph in the 15, 16? He's a defensive liability. He's, because he was lighter. He got pushed around.
And
he's obviously bulked up, and he can take the blows. And so I think he's worked really hard on defense. And in these playoffs, I mean, every possession counts. So you're really fighting hard on the defensive end. And, it could affect his shot a little bit. But he came through in the clutch tonight. I mean, he hit those 2 or 3 daggers, and those drives to the hoop, reverse layup, and all of those things. I mean, he turned it on, and I don't know. There could be a little bit of truth to all of those comments.
I will refuse to accept the age thing. The mileage does not.
No, Steph's a young 34. He's got the body to really play into his late 30s at a high level.
He is.
I'm kind of a young 52.
Guys, I haven't been able to finish this all once in 10 minutes.
All right. Well, wait a second. Give Cy.
He wants to start throwing F-bombs again. Here we go.
Well,
Here we go. Let's move Cy. Cy wants to be part of. He wants to be the big. Put me in the big box because I got a lot to say.
Ryan asked me this long question.
Go ahead, Cy.
I'm having one to answer it. All I'm trying to say is that because people are accusing Steph of acting like a middle-aged player out there, and that's not true. The first half of the season, he was the leading MVP candidate. He was putting up insane numbers. Then the three-point chase happens. Then when Draymond goes down, his usage rate skyrockets. So he's handling the ball way more than he normally does. He's taken on this massively bigger role than he's accustomed to, and that did wear down on him. That's not what he normally does. So I think he's fine. The only numbers that have gone down slightly are his shooting percentages, and that's more on par with fatigue based off his increased usage. And you saw him tonight. That fourth quarter, he was on fire. He finished with 29 points and averaged, his scoring average was 2 points more than what he did his MVP year. So, outside of his shooting percentage, if that's your only argument, I just disagree. That's it. I'm done.
Jaguayo 56 and my buddy Jimmy Molay are having a donation, who can top who back and forth here. These guys are just donating constantly. Jaguayo 56, $5 more. He says Dub's coaching staff does a great job when Kerr is out. Mike Brown is 15-1. Wow. Always amazed how the Warriors play a small lineup against bigger teams. Green is a beast. What can you say about Green? I mean, we kind of talked about Green before, but I mean, he just plays huge in big games. I mean, and it's all there. I mean, it's all, you can go look up all the box scores, pick your year. There is not a game that I can think of that has been a pivotal, huge, gotta have it game, and Draymond lays an egg. Just doesn't happen. He fires and plays at whatever his level is. He plays higher than that in the gotta have it moments.
Larry, who do you want next round?
Hall of Famer.
Who do you want next round? Do you want Phoenix or Dallas?
I'd rather have Dallas, but I think the better show is Phoenix. I mean, part of me, I really enjoy watching the Warriors single-handedly keep Chris Paul from winning a title. And after Chris Paul threatened that 15-year-old the other day, when you're talking tough and you're literally verbally threatening a guy who is looking forward to the junior prom.
We'll talk. We'll meet up.
Yeah, exactly. I'll see you later when you're getting your corsage ready for your junior prom. I'll meet you. I'll kick your ass. And I thought maybe it was like the guy actually did something to Chris Paul's family, but from what I heard, it was pretty harmless. So I don't know. I usually side with the players against the fans because here's the thing about the fans. There's so many things in our society that it's interactive. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's great. It was good before, but now it's interactive. Sports is not interactive. All right. It's not interactive. You're viewing it. You're not a participant in any way, shape, or form. It's in no way meant to be interactive. Don't try to make it interactive. So I just think there's a lot of fans
about interactivity involving Tony Salvador, our former boss.
Okay.
He once gave me this is Tony Salvador, who at the peak of his powers was a very powerful man in Bay Area media, and he controlled KNBR, K-Fog, The Bone. He was our boss, and Tony Salvador one day gives me his tickets to his seats to a Giants game, and I took my co-host with me for the Extreme Scene, this little weekend action sports show I used to do, and we get liquored up. And they're playing the Braves, and Terry Pendleton, I think, is like their hitting coach,
right?
And I just can't stop telling him, because these seats are really good. They're right behind the visitors' dugout, and I just constantly keep telling Terry Pendleton, "Why do you have hot dog buns for a neck?" And I just keep saying that over and over because he had these two big old fat rolls on the back of his neck. And I don't know if it was fat or what the hell it was, but so I just kept saying, "Hey Terry, why do you have these big old hot dog rolls on the back of your neck?" And I just keep saying this over and over. And then finally mixed it up one time. I said, "Hey, Terry, you stole an MVP from Barry Bonds." He turned around and snapped, just started yelling at me for like a minute straight.
Really?
So I'm one of those people. I'm sorry. I do apologize. This was like 20 years ago. I was immature.
You were, but you were the host of the Extreme Scene, and you had to be extreme. Update from Dodger Stadium: Brusdar Graterol has served it up, baby. Nick Castellanos with a double. That scored Harper. That scored Quinn. And then Castellanos would score himself on a throwing error by the catcher, Austin Barnes. 12-9 Phillies. With the lead at Dodger Stadium. Bottom 10 Dodgers now hitting. No outs in the inning.
Yeah,
we'll keep you updated.
He tried to steal third, and Barnes just threw it right into left field.
Who did?
Great.
Who threw? Who was trying to steal?
Castellanos.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was, or whoever was on second. I'm assuming that was Castellanos who hit the
Phillies
double.
can swing it, guys. Phillies can really swing it.
So you guys want to talk a matchup? Here's what my concern is with, I'm pulling for Phoenix for two reasons. One, I think they're a better matchup for the Warriors. And two, they would get home court advantage.
You mean Dallas?
They get home court advantage if they play Dallas.
I mean, Dallas, yeah.
Okay.
So anyway.
Wait. So your point was that Dallas is the team, but you said Phoenix.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Dallas. I'm sorry. Dallas is a better matchup for the Warriors. I think Phoenix is a difficult matchup because of Ayton. He can score. He can shoot from, anywhere in the paint, and that is a huge. Who's going to guard him on the Warriors? I mean, he's a
actually Draymond and Looney historically have done a kind of a good job on it.
Yes.
He's weird because he's so big and he has such a grandpa face for such a young kid. And
Gary Oden face. Yeah.
You're like, oh, this guy's a monster, but he kind of plays a little bit low key finesse, if that makes sense. It's kind of weird. I can't really describe his game.
Larry, you got to do something about this logo on their top right of your screen, dude. You got to move that thing to the top left, or you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So, maybe I can move it probably right now.
Oh, is your head in the? You can't see.
It's
right. What happened?
That was your solution.
Did I just? Oh, I'm sorry. No, that I can't. I guess Rye can move it.
There you go.
Rye did it. Rye did it. Did you do it, Rye?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Get rid of it altogether.
The other corner, so that way the logo's still there, but not blocking people's faces.
We can put one right here over my face. That would just straight over the
right on the forehead.
James Foster says Chris Paul's due for his annual playoff hamstring giddy up.
Oh, wait.
Glass.
You know what? I've got a question for you, just because, the Warriors and obviously all of us fans, now we all hate Dylan Brooks. I low key dislike Ja all of a sudden. I know, obviously we're going to hate Chris Paul. Like, it's going to be unreal how much we're going to hate him during the series. He's going to be doing all his Chris Paul things. We're going to be complaining about it. I think
flopping, and he's the king. He's like a premiership soccer player.
But honestly, we've not yet matched up with Luka in a playoff series. There's a chance that we could absolutely hate him as a player. He is about as he bitches to the refs probably more than anyone in the entire NBA, and is just flopping all over the place.
Speaking of flops, did we play that flop the other night of Dylan Brooks at Oregon? Was that on the show?
Oh my God, that's the best flop of all time.
That's the worst flop the best and the worst. It is the absolute worst flop I have ever seen. Ever.
Larry, have you seen this?
Which one is it?
Oh my God, I've got to pull it up then. All right.
Yeah, show it to me.
Yeah.
I thought we played it on the show, but I
it.
guess I saw it somewhere else. But
what if the Warriors play the Suns, guys, and the Warriors somehow honor the kid who was in Dallas the other night, the 15-year-old getting yelled at? And coming out to
Crowder and Draymond also, like they just always
awesome.
So much beef when they play.
Buckhead, you're from Buckhead, son.
Oh, I thought I swore again. No, it was Buckhead. I heard something. Cuckhead, there you go. Thought it was
Buckhead.
Maybe Buckhead.
I think whoever the Warriors play, Phoenix is going to be obviously a little tougher, I think. And I'm totally with you, Coach, about the home court because, again, the Warriors are undefeated at home, and they had one of the best home records in the regular season. I think they were 31-10. The Chase Center, it's friendly, and I'd rather have an extra game there. And like I said, I don't think Luka has a full championship run in him. This is the first time he's gone past the first round. He's an incredible player.
But nobody's afraid of Phoenix going to Phoenix, right? I mean, the Warriors, I will say this. Phoenix's crowd last year in the playoffs was crazy loud. Last year, they were super into it. And I haven't seen too many games there this year.
They'll be up for the Warriors.
I'm sure they'll be up for it. But the Warriors rolled in there on Christmas Day and spanked them, right?
Exactly.
So, what was Golden State's 4-game record against, was it 2-2 against Phoenix?
Phoenix? It was 2-2, correct? Exactly.
And what was it against Dallas? Was it 1-3?
Dallas?
Yeah.
But again, but that doesn't matter, Larry. It just has no relevance, just like it did with Memphis. And the Warriors lost the season series to Memphis and Denver 1-3. It bore no real relevance just because the Warriors were missing important players for all those games. It is really fascinating how the timing of the Warriors' health. Talk about just impeccable timing where all these other teams have these serious injuries. Gary Payton II is going to be a loss. They're going to feel that, especially if they play Phoenix or even Dallas. Gary Payton II that could have guarded Luka as well. But
say hello to Kylen, everybody. Kylen just joined the mix.
Hey, joining late. What's up? Sorry, I've been working my little fingers to the bone.
So what was your post-game obligations, Kylen? What did you have to do?
I just had to cut some sound bites and do some tweeting in post game. So nothing big, but it was fascinating listening to post game. I was sucked in.
Tell us why. What did you get out of it? Because we're here. We've been throwing it back and forth. Sai has swore 4 times. He had to be muted. He's like happy but swearing. He's kind of like he reminds me of kind of like a 15-year-old. Just a lot of swearing about nothing. But give me a little breakdown of how you. Well, tell us. Did anything come out in the post game that in any way was revealing or interesting?
Yeah. So the most interesting thing to me from post game was Mike Brown talked about the decision to start Kevon Looney in this game, which to me was the facilitator of the win. Ultimately, his play, to me. Kevon Looney's play and Andrew Wiggins were 2 of the biggest difference makers. Klay Thompson also having a great game helps. Yep. And yes, Steph Curry hit some shots in the fourth quarter after being cold all game. But to me, the 2 that really, really sealed the deal were Kevon Looney and Andrew Wiggins. And what was interesting is Mike Brown said that decision actually came about through a discussion that started on the bench of Game 5. And he said the biggest reason why the Warriors decided to start Kevon Looney is because Draymond Green and Steph Curry looked Mike Brown in the eye and said, you need to start him. Starting Kevon Looney will give us the confidence we need to open up this game. And given the fact that they have started the last 2 games so miserably, if you're a coach and your 2 veteran players are saying that to you, you listen. I mean, when they're legends like Steph Curry and Draymond Green, and Mike Brown just kind of went on a tangent about how Draymond Green has basically been a coach this season, a player coach, as you'd expect, alongside Andre Iguodala. But he's like, when Draymond Green talks, you listen. And Steve Kerr has always been known as a player's coach. And Mike Brown is actually the same way. And some of the guys in postgame said the same thing. Mike Brown is similar to Steve Kerr in that he's a player's coach. So when the players came to them and said, we want Kevon Looney starting, they're like, all right, let's do it. Steve Kerr and Mike Brown both signed off on it. I just think it's really interesting because that's not the way every team works. It's not the way every NBA team works. But I think that's what makes the Warriors work so well, is that it is a collaborative effort. And that Steph Curry, Draymond Green, I mean, even Klay Thompson, he didn't come up in this particular conversation, but their veterans have a very, very loud voice in running the show. And I think that makes a huge difference. It's just fascinating to me. It's reminiscent, I think, of the 90s Bulls with Phil Jackson really being a player's coach as well. And he ran everything by Michael Jordan. And those two really put their heads together. And it's kind of similar with the Warriors, which it works.
I think that's really interesting too, because they listen to their guys. Now, not always, right? Because Steph and Draymond and Klay were saying, "Hey, Avery Bradley over GP2," and the Warriors said, "You know what? Noted." But we're going with GP2, and obviously that worked out well. But I think the Warriors know that they have a unique group. They got a lot of really smart players. I mean, they let Draymond sit in on draft meetings because they value his insight on the prospects. And I would think that they would probably listen to their veteran core, guys who have been there. They've all been to multiple parades. They're wearing rings, and they probably have a pretty good insight into what makes their team dynamic go, and maybe there's something internally about their dynamic as a team where Looney, they feel more confident playing with Looney. I mean, they've played the most games this year with Looney starting. So I would understand that would make them comfortable. I do think it's interesting though, because, they've had their way in this series at different times with the front line of Memphis without, playing Looney significant minutes. I thought that was interesting that that would be the thing that they would want to go with at the start of this game. What did you guys think of that? It's kind of an interesting little anecdote.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, sorry, Coach. I mean, if you guys listen to Draymond Green's podcast after the Warrior, or after the blowout, he pretty much was just like, look, like, matchups make fights in the playoffs, and what we kind of didn't realize is that this is not the same. This team without Ja is a different basketball team. We need to approach it as so, meaning from series to series, they have different starting lineups. They have different things they focus on. So he was basically like, we need to throw out everything, all of our, because our whole game plan was to stop Ja, he was saying. And it's like, so obviously there's something with Steve, now that Steven Adams is out there, and because the Warriors don't have a Karl Anthony Towns who can pull him away from the rim, causing Adams to be, basically a non-factor in the series, Adams is so huge for them. And we really didn't have an answer. I mean, if you think about it, Steven Adams was back for 2 games, and we led for 1 minute in those 2 games. I mean, that's pretty crazy. So, yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I love the fact that Draymond's like being collaborative, because I think he's just super smart basketball dude.
Yeah, absolutely. But, yeah, to Kylen's point, the Wiggs and Looney were huge tonight. It was the one thing I made a note of. Looney had 22 rebounds, but how many did he tip to other players to get the rebound that he couldn't grab? He would just tip them. So, I mean, he had and Wiggins with his threes and his driving and just his defense, blocks. I mean, they were totally intense, both those guys tonight. And it was great to see Wiggins come alive actually in a big game. Showed up in a sense where he was kind of the lead guy there for a while.
It's interesting. Dallas, Todd Jersey Architecture Inc. says Dallas would have 0 chance against the Dubs. And Kylen, we already kind of threw this one around. We'll throw it to you. There are some people that are saying that Dallas will give Golden State a better run than Phoenix will. Where do you sit on the next round? Obviously we don't know yet if it's going to be Dallas or Phoenix. How do you see this 2 series being different?
I think it'll be very, very different. I think that Dallas, now that they're healthy, gives me more pause than the Phoenix Suns do. What I like about the Warriors next series is that they have 5 days off now. So regardless of who they're facing, and I think it'll definitely, the shape will change depending on which team it is. But I've just got to say that the Suns have not looked like the dominant team that they looked like all regular season in the playoffs. Like, to me, the way that they've played, it just, I don't know. They don't look like the same team, and maybe they just don't have it. I'd be curious as to what you guys think, because I really was talking with someone else about this today and really was pondering that. Like, why are the Suns not showing up in the playoffs the way they did during the regular season? I guess, like, that's my reason for pause with how a series would shake out with the Warriors. Yeah, CP3 has had some good moments and been hot, but, like, as a team, they've just looked flat.
I mean, that's a great point. I mean, it is interesting because, like, last year, we were talking about their arena, the energy in their arena last year in the playoffs was like, it reminded me of like Major League the movie. You know, it was like, I'm like, are we watching a movie going on here? I mean, people were going bananas every single night. Now, maybe that's difficult to replicate, or maybe they're also, once you've played in the finals, maybe it's hard to get up for the first and second round. Is it possible that they're going to be a lot tougher in the conference finals and then potentially in the finals than they have been thus far, and that they're kind of going through the motions in the first round? Because I'll say this, I agree with Kylen in that I thought Phoenix would just smoke their first two opponents, and they struggled with New Orleans, and they're struggling again here with the Mavericks.
Yeah, and before I make comments on that, so final in LA, Phillies 12, Dodgers 10, Giants only a half game out. Last 5 days ago, they were 4 out.
There you go.
So
look at that, Philly. Big win for Philly. A. Brody, Phillies upset LA again at home. 12-10 Phils.
Yeah. But I think with what's going on with Phoenix is that they were playing almost like the Warriors in the big 73 win season. They were playing for their own franchise record in victories, and they were putting so much effort into the regular season that they smoked so many teams, and it was pretty easy for them. That playoff intensity, it's totally different. And New Orleans gave them a run, and with Dallas, I just think that. Plus, Paul is starting to last few games. I just wonder if he's starting to wear down. It's a long season, and he's older. And he just doesn't look like himself, like he was, even in the New Orleans series. He was, he had some great games, and he'd take over in the fourth quarter. One game, I think he went 15 of 15 or something like that, or he didn't miss a shot. And they were, but the last few games, he's just looking really worn out. But, home court, you get home court, as you saw tonight. Warriors were down 55 the other night. All of a sudden, the energy shifts.
It is amazing game to game, isn't it? I mean, you lose by 55, and then all of a sudden, even though you lost by 55, you win the next game and you win going away. I don't know if it's as simple as home and road, or, what was your read on the last game, Kylen? Since we didn't talk to you after the last game, Golden State got drubbed, and it was almost, who was it last post game that said that, it was like they got to a certain point in that second quarter where it was like, are we going to dig deep and get back in this thing, or are we going to chalk it up and go go to Game 6? And it felt
that was
like
my brother.
Was it your brother?
Yeah.
It felt like they kind of looked at the thing and said, you know what, screw it, we'll get them Friday night. What was your view of the last game, and because they got absolutely annihilated in that game.
Yeah, I think that once the Warriors realized the game had gotten out of hand, which it had, I'm sorry, but by the second quarter, they were down, 30, 40? Like, I can't remember what the exact score was. But the difference between game 4 and 5 is that game 4, they had a bad first quarter, but the game never got away from them. And game 5, they had a bad first quarter, but the game just got out of hand and snowballed so fast. And I think the Warriors realized that rather than like expend so much effort, really trying to get it to the top of that mountain, which, when you're talking about a 30, 40 point deficit, even before half, like that's huge. I can't remember if it was in the second, or I think it was actually in the second half. It was in the third quarter when it's like, if they would have come back, it would have been the largest comeback in NBA playoff history of 40 points or something. It's like at that point, why not just rest and call it a night and get back home and win a game 6? I mean, I think they did the right thing. At some point, I think they figured, why expend our energy to get to the top of this mountain? It's going to be very, very difficult, if not improbable to impossible to do. That's what it looked like to me. It did look like to me they threw in the towel early, and I don't think it was the wrong decision when the game started to snowball. You just get scared. You don't want to see that happen again. It's like moving forward, the competition is going to be just as competitive. So I don't want to say they can get into that mindset, but I think it made sense for the position they were in and where they were at in the series.
Yeah, totally, 100%.
Charles Kane says, when Green scores over 10 points, the Warriors win. It is something when he looks for his offense, it does seem like it makes them a more dangerous team. What did you make of, we talked about this as well before you got in here, Kylen, about the turnovers. I mean, Golden State had 18 or 19 turnovers. I've seen a couple different box scores. One says 18, one says 19, one says 17, but it's still, any way you slice it, a lot of turnovers. Is there, and many of those, I would say at least 10 of those were unforced. They were totally unforced. It wasn't like it was incredible Memphis defense that forced the turnover. It was just being careless with the basketball. I mean, to me, that I don't know if that's just, we should just get used to that because there's a lot of movement, ball movement, body movement, and we should just get used to it. Or is that going to bite them and prevent them from winning at all?
It's the biggest red flag for me, and potentially I think the Achilles heel in the Warriors winning it all. The thing is that turnovers have long been a problem of the Warriors. So this is nothing new because of, like you mentioned, Larry, the style of basketball they play. The ball is moving. You've got the motion offense. It's flying around. I think it is a little bit of a product of that. But like tonight, we just saw like bad, stupid turnovers. There was one point in the third quarter where there were literally 3 straight possessions of turnovers, and fans started booing after Klay Thompson threw the ball away.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to find. Yeah, I think he was trying to find Steph Curry out in transition. I can't remember, but he was like looking way ahead, and it just was like unnecessary, unforced, like you said. And literally even the fans are booing. So it's bad when it's like 3 straight possession turnovers and your home crowd is booing you for turning the ball over. My concern is that it could be the Achilles heel if they play a higher caliber team. And also my concern is just that if shots aren't falling, that the turnovers can come back to bite them. Because in the past, when their outside shooters have all been hot. And I do think they had a little bit of more depth with some of the 2016-17 teams than they have now. Like Andre Iguodala, for example, was fully healthy. They had a little bit better shooting because like this series, their shooters have not shot well at all at large when it comes to Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. And they have, built their offense so much around their 3-point shooting. And it's like, if the shots aren't falling and you're turning the ball over, you're not going to win. So it's like, to me, it's, if you don't clean up the turnovers, then you better be making shots, because if not, it's going to, really bite you in the butt. But Draymond Green had a couple bad ones too. I think someone I just saw said Steph Curry. Steph Curry had some bad ones. Draymond Green had a couple bad ones. Like they have to clean it up if they want to win a championship, if you ask me, because on the nights or the times when the shots don't fall, like this game, the Warriors could have run away with it early, even
easily,
if they hadn't turned the ball over so much. So why not just lock it up? Like take care of the ball, and they could have had this game in hand early.
The most frustrating ones for me was like, especially at the beginning of the game, it would be like, Draymond or someone would get a rebound, pass it to Draymond, and then he's just sprinting up the court. And it's like, Dre, I love the like intention and the intensity today. But then it's like he would just try and like throw it up the court to hit like Klay or Steph, who are like a little bit behind the defense for like a layup. And it's like, how many times did those just soar out of bounds? Yeah, I saw something on Twitter. It was at 9:00. I can't quite like timestamp it, but I think it was like maybe 6 minutes into the third quarter. At one point, they had a 23% turnover rate. meaning 23% of the time that they had the ball, they had an offensive possession, they were turning the ball over.
That's just ridiculous.
That is a high number for sure. Hey, Cy's got to get out of here, right? And when Cy, you've been with us since the outset of the show. Do you have a final word, Cy, before you duck out? Into the rest of your Friday evening and the weekend ahead.
Oh, the rest of my night's bed, but I'm gonna sleep. I'm excited for that. I'll say this: don't be fooled by the numbers. A lot of the times, okay? Like if there's ever a sport where the eye test carries tremendous value, it's basketball, because there are a lot of players out there that score a lot and do absolutely nothing. There are players out there that might give you 10, 15 points a game that have more value than anyone else on the court. The Phoenix Suns fooled a lot of people this year, all right? Like this is a league where they've wanted parity for a long time. The Warriors delayed that because of their incredible luck with Steph and Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green's insanely cap-friendly contracts that let them have Kevin Durant fall to the lap. What we have now is the remnants of a dynasty with the Warriors. That's why they're still, in my opinion, and when they win the championship, then I can say, told you so to everyone, that this is the best team in the NBA, and the track record shows that. You can't ignore history when it's that recent, and championship DNA is a very real thing. It's based on experience, and it's based on your track record of success, which the Warriors are second to none with in the NBA. Phoenix has not proven a thing. They made one NBA Finals trip. Chris Paul has blown countless playoff series. And I agree with what Coach said in that they did hustle more than they should have this regular season. They pursued the best record. They finished with 6-4 wins, and for what? You lose one game at home, and all that's gone to waste. And that effort for 6-4 wins got you a Dallas Mavericks team that is now pushed you to 7 games. It's not worth it. The Warriors' experience plays into things like that. They could care less about the regular season. What we're seeing now is a Warriors team that, we talk about the turnovers. A lot of that is Memphis. You are not going to see these turnovers against Dallas. You're not going to, who, by the way, defensively is not great. All right. Dallas does not have a stout defense. All right. They're nothing compared to Memphis. Phoenix's defense is fairly legit, but the Warriors have already figured that out. They've shown that. So the Warriors right now are, in my opinion, the best team in the West by a mile. The next time we meet will be Wednesday night, game 1. I'm already predicting the Warriors to win that game, regardless of who they play. And if it's Phoenix, they'll take home court after game 1. So nice work for those 6-4 wins, all for nothing. And if it's Dallas, we'll be in Chase Center. It's going to be awesome. But regardless, I think the Western Conference is theirs, as long as hell is on their side. And then we'll see who comes out of the East. And I don't want Boston. I'll say that.
Right.
I would much prefer Milwaukee or Miami.
Carlos says the eye test Boston. Carlos says the eye test says Boston and Milwaukee are the 2 best teams left. I don't know.
That's what everyone's saying, but it goes back to what you're saying about like the cloud. Like I don't think anyone knows who the best teams are. It really is to be. We're going to kind of figure when the dust settles. There's going to be a lot of like retroactive opinions about series and whatnot. Oh, that makes sense now that we know. But I don't think anyone really knows. So to be saying, because I'm hearing everybody saying that this is like, it's the equivalent of like, the Rockets and Warriors playing in the second round. Like we're really just, they're playing for the championship. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that's a little bit. Bill Simmons is saying that. A lot of the ESPN guys.
Bill Simmons, for the record, predicted Boston. I'm sorry. He predicted Phoenix. He predicted Phoenix, and now he's backtracking on that. He's
on everything.
A lot of other people are saying, which is, oh, they look so different now. New Orleans pushed them. They're going to a game 7 in Dallas. I do not understand why Bill Simmons screwed that up. I normally respect him, and I feel like he nails it most of the time. He screwed up, man. It is. I don't know.
Sai, can you swear one more time before you leave? I mean, just one more.
Man, like Memphis, whether you want to rely on measurables, their defensive statistics were incredible. They also had a very stout offense. They were a great team. They had the second best record, not only in the Western Conference, but in the NBA. And the Warriors just took care of business. And newsflash, if it goes to the NBA Finals, Warriors got home court there too. So I'm not stressing right now. They're undefeated at home. Memphis scared the ever-living you-know-what out of me. We just take care of business. I'm going to relax. I've never been.
There it is. There's
Look at that. It wouldn't be a sports. It wouldn't be post game unless somebody said, "Hey, guys, let's just relax. Let's just relax." Hey, Sai, your eyelids are at half mask. We're going to let you go, bro. We're going to let you go. Locked On. Everybody, wave goodbye to the Locked On Warrior host.
Love you guys.
That's the Locked On Warrior host, ladies and gentlemen. Right. And like that, He was gone. What happened? Did I just dumped in Coach Mill? No, there we go. Kylen, do you have a final thought, or do you want to talk a little Giants with us? Because we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit about the Giants, and you probably are all in on Golden State through your Cron endeavors.
Exactly. I was going to say it's like nonstop. If I'm not doing it, I'm like analyzing the other NBA games. It's just like that time of year where you like eat, sleep, and breathe basketball because that's all we're covering, like 12-hour days. Oh my gosh, you guys, I just have to tell you really quick that Wednesday was the most miserable night possibly of my life. It also happened to be my birthday. Okay, most miserable is an exaggeration.
Well, happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Belated.
Thank you. So listen to what I did on Wednesday night. Yes, 21st. My 21st again for the 10th straight time. But so Wednesday night,
so bad? What? Because of the game, because of the way they played.
Yes. So Wednesday night, I was assigned to cover the watch party at Thrive City, and they were expecting it to be packed. All the watch parties have been really packed outside of Chase Center for the away game. So good for donation coming out there and getting loud. It was miserable. It was freezing cold. That wind was coming into, so like Thrive City, I don't know if you guys have been there now familiar, but it's literally like a wind tunnel where it's situated. The way the buildings are, it was like a wind tunnel. It was 30 degrees and fans started getting angry. Like in the first quarter, people are like booing this, that, they're mad. And people literally started packing up and leaving in the second quarter. After halftime, like most of the crowd was gone. And I'm like, why am I still here? I've been out for 10 hours. Because, in local news, it's like, all right, we need a preview of the watch party at our 3 o'clock newscast, 4 o'clock newscast, 5 o'clock newscast. The game doesn't start till 6:30. I'm still there at 10 p.m. And I'm like, why am I still out here? Like, reporting on the Warriors getting their butts whipped. This is awful. So that was brutal. I'm glad they finished the series because if it would have gone to 7, I would have been very, very, very concerned. We'll just have to see. I like what we saw tonight, but like whoever they play next is going to be a totally different matchup. Like the look even of the Grizzlies totally changed with John Morant. I'm glad the Warriors made the adjustments they did, inserting Kevon Looney into the lineup. They really got down on the boards tonight too, which was huge. But, we're just going to have to see who they're up against next. I just like the fact they have 5 days off.
That's huge.
I think it's especially huge. Another player absent tonight, Otto Porter Jr., who was crucial in the early of the series, dealing with that foot pain. So he went to shoot around this morning and did get some shots up, did some work on the court. Like it looked like he might play, and he was like kind of a game time decision. And I guess that right foot ended up being too sore. Supposedly just some kind of bruise, or he like banged it up. I think stepping out of bounds or something like weird. It was like one of those kind of freak things. Right. But so 5 days off, like Warriors, it's no secret. They've got a lot of guys that are 30 plus or several key guys that are 30 plus. You've got guys like Otto Porter who've like battled injuries all year. So like, thank goodness they got this done tonight, and they have 5 days now. Like in the playoffs, that's an eternity of time to recover versus Game 7 being played for the Suns and Mavs,
and they need it.
Huge, so they huge, I was thinking, Larry and Kylen, the other night, I said,
how often is it that we can argue in person physically? Yeah.
Movie. Yeah. Excuse me, Ryan, when you're playing your computer. Ryan's sitting on the floor right now.
Like open the most random YouTube video.
What I was saying the other night was
that's almost worth a mute right there. That might be worth a mute.
Game 6 with Dallas Phoenix. It was crucial for the Warriors that Dallas wins to push Game 7 and then the Warriors winning tonight gives them the rest, and by them being rested up, they'll probably take. I imagine they'll take tomorrow and Sunday off, and then just Monday, Tuesday practice for whoever they're going to be playing. But they'll put in the game plans and everything starting Monday or probably Sunday night. But having that 5 days off is so crucial, because look at what would have happened if they would have lost tonight. They would have played Monday and then had to turn around and play Wednesday, and that would have been a real tough game 1.
Maybe
even won Game 7.
Yeah, what's Kerr's status, Kylen? Did they say anything in the postgame about when? Obviously Kerr's going to be ready for the next round, but would he have been able to coach if this series had gone to 7?
Likely not. I mean,
Wow.
there's no way to know for sure because he could still return to the team at any time with 2 negative COVID tests. But like the thing is, you can test positive even after you feel better. So like there's no guarantee. So like either based on the NBA rules, like either you have to like wait or sit out that entire quarantine period, or you have to test negative twice. But like even if he was feeling better in 2 days, like there's no guarantee that the test would have come back negative because, you can get some of the virus lingering, in your nose or whatever, and you can still get positive tests once you're feeling better. So I mean, it wasn't looking likely, and that's, another huge factor is Steve Kerr should be back next Wednesday.
Did you see what his wife tweeted during the game?
Yes.
Yeah, I never want to watch an NBA game with my husband again.
Did she say that? That is awesome. Because he's fiery. I mean, the one thing about Kerr's got a temper, man. So he's sitting there watching, Hey, somebody said something that is there a Draymond Perkins tweet thing going on right now?
I wish Dre wouldn't engage Perkins. Like, that's what he wants.
Is Big Perk and Draymond going at each other? What can you fill us in, Rye? What's the latest on that?
I haven't actually seen. I've just seen people reacting to it, but I just know it's because Perkins has been on Memphis this whole series and kind of has been talking a little bit down on the Warriors and whatnot. Just traditionally, like they kind of view him a little bit as a Warriors hater, like back to the days of the finals when Steph was yelling at him on the bench and whatnot. And yeah, no, I didn't see that. I did see though. Jaw tweeted out favorite matchup, looking forward to more battles. 30, and a picture of him and Steph.
Can I hop in, Larry, on the Perk drama? So Draymond is one of my favorite people ever on the podium. He went on like an entire anti-Kendrick Perkins rant during postgame tonight. Apparently,
is this true? He called him an ogre?
Ogre. He called him a large ogre.
That is awesome.
I can play it, actually. I have a minute 45. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably it. Yeah, I mean, it honestly went even beyond a minute 45. But where are you did someone tweet it out?
Anthony Slater, Draymond Green firing back at a few.
Yeah, let's hear it, Ray. Go ahead.
How important was it for you to bring that energy from the jump? How much of that was a response to Game 5 and not wanting a Game 7?
I didn't want to get back on the plane. That was one underrated thing in this series. It's a 4.5-hour flight, which was brutal. So I just didn't want to get back on the plane. And, it was less about playing in Memphis and more about getting on the 4.5-hour flight. I just didn't want to get on. And then, something came to my phone earlier. A guy saying I'm scared to shoot the basketball. Like that's scared and me in the same sentence is like brutal, But you got a big ogre on TV talking about what Draymond said. The gospel is the gospel. What I say is the gospel. When you say that multiple times, like on several different segments, you must think what I say the gospel. So, you got to come out and shut some guys up sometimes. And I like to show, when you got people out there just talking out the side of their neck, or anybody can make the pass Draymond make, like that's just stupid. I mean, these are people who get employed to talk on TV about our game. And, it's anybody can make that pass. You make that pass. We'd love to see it. I played against the guy, by the way. I'm talking about Kendrick Perkins for those of y'all. I never ducking no smoke. As the Memphis Grizzlies towels say, I don't duck smoke. Anybody can make their pass. Like, you couldn't. So, good luck.
All right.
I got to start busting out ogre more. I got to use ogre. I got to call more people ogres. Well, I mean, I agree with Draymond. I mean, seriously. I mean, you're going to sit there and say he's afraid to shoot. I mean, that's, and what are you trying to do? You're trying to goad him into taking, hoisting up a bunch of shots. Draymond's line, I thought, was spectacular. 14 points, 16 rebounds, 8 assists. And Kylen, we were talking about it before. I mean, you go right down to the biggest games in the history of the Warriors run during this dynasty, and I'll call it a dynasty because I think it is. He was absolutely huge in almost every major game. I don't think he's no-showed, like even stat-wise, any big game that they've played in this as a Warrior. I mean, there have been other times where Clay hasn't done it, Steph hasn't done it, but Draymond in the biggest games, even when they lost to LeBron in the seventh game, didn't he have like 32 and 14 and 7
like
or something like
7 threes or something crazy?
Yeah, I mean, he fires in the moment, and to say that he's afraid to shoot is it's not true. And I agree with now we got TNT on ESPN crime. It seems like
I'm loving it.
There might be legs to that whole thing, but I just think Perkins is wrong. I think his analysis is just wrong.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, I have just because we talked about it earlier, I have his line from 2016. This is pretty crazy to look back at. I think he was second team All NBA the year when he won 73 games. It was 14 points a game, 9.5 rebounds, 7.5 assists, and he shot 38.8% from three. So basically what Steph was this year. It's crazy.
The guy fires in almost every big game. So it's like to sit there and point at Green. Wow. I mean, this was a fun one for sure. Kylen, we'll let you get on with your night because I know you probably don't want to talk a little Giants unless you want to talk Giants Cardinals with us. Do you want to talk a little Giants Cardinals?
No, but I mean, yes, but no, I wouldn't be coming from an educated place of watching this season. But can I toss like one question out to you guys that I really like?
Yeah.
I mean, from what you guys have seen this season, like, do you think last season and what the Giants were able to do, like, was a fluke? Because it seemed like their whole, like, plug-and-play style, like, I don't see how you could sustain that, like, long-term. And, like, it just seemed like magic. Like, every time manager Gabe Kapler did some crazy move or plug someone in, it worked. Like, every time last season, it worked. Like, was it just a fluke, or can you sustain that long-term? Can they repeat that this season? Because again, this season, like, they didn't pick up some big name star. They obviously have their key role players back from last season and some guys who are good, but like they still don't have some like big star power name.
They don't have exactly, and maybe that's why the attendance has been a little flat early because they don't have a star player. But it is interesting. I mean, there's three phases of the game, right? In baseball, there's pitching, there's defense, and then there's hitting. And pitching wise, the Giants, we asked Saras at the end of last year, hey, what's the key to the 107 wins for the Giants? And he did not pause, Kylen. He was like, he immediately fired back. He's like, the Giants give their struggling hitters and struggling pitchers fewer at bats and fewer innings pitched than any team in the big leagues. We just saw it this week with Jake McGee. Jake McGee's struggling. Where is he? He's on the injured list. They don't sit with him and they don't sit with guys for too long. So I think that's one of the keys. So they're not really operating with a 25-man roster. They're really operating with more like a 32-man roster because they've got a lot of flexibility on the back end of the roster and guys are up and down. But I think pitching wise, I think they've got a really good rotation. I think they've got a really deep bullpen. And then defense is so much in 2022 about your analytics. And I think that they've got some really, really good analytics. So it's not pitching and defense. It's like pitching and defense and positioning. And your positioning is tied to your analytics. So I think they're really thriving analytic-wise in their defense. That's helping their defense. Their pitching is legit and deep. And then offensively, I think that's the biggest surprise to me is just that how good they were last year offensively and this year. I mean, we were talking about it coming into this month. They were like leading the big leagues in runs per game. And despite the fact they had a bunch of guys on the injured list, COVID list, and, guys who, LaStella was out, Longoria was out, Wade was out, and they're still scoring runs. So to me, I understand the pitching. They're deep. I understand the defense. It's analytics. I don't quite understand their success offensively. I don't really have anything to. I can't really quantify it or understand how they're doing this, but they're doing it. Danny, Rye, what do you guys think? I mean, you guys watch Giants baseball. Danny probably watches it closer than anybody. What do you guys think? Why are the Giants being able to score runs? They scored 8 tonight on the Cardinals, and they got a bunch. They got 5 or 6 guys hitting under 220.
Well, their hitting style is to wait for their pitch. They make pitchers, they go deep into counts. There's a lot of 3-2 counts, and they wait for their pitch. If they, especially Wade, Belt, those are 2 of the top guys. Even Yaz does, a good job at working counts. It's kind of what their hitting instructors are really teaching them to do, is wait for the pitch that's in your zone. Even if it's a strike and you don't like it, they take it. And it might be the second strike, and they're just waiting for that one pitch rather than swing at a pitch that they weren't looking for and maybe pop it up or tap it into a weak grounder or something. They don't really do that until there's 2 strikes. So I like their approach. We were concerned a little bit a week and a half ago. They weren't hitting, but they had 5 regulars out tonight. Wade, Longoria got a big hit that knocked in a couple runs. So Wade was getting on base. But the guys missing were Belt, Wade, Yaz, and Longoria. So there's 4 guys that were missing for like a week. And Peterson was out for a while too. So they're all healthy right now. The only one that's missing is La Stella, and Estrada's doing a great job at second. So are they going to win 107 games? I wouldn't count on that. But I do think they'll win anywhere between, I'm predicting that they'll win anywhere between 92 and 100.
Wow. Wow, that's. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking 90, but 92 to 100. That would really be something. Hey, why don't we let Kylen and Ryan go, because Ryan's got to get on with his. He's got a big day tomorrow as well. He's driving all over the place, and I think he's got to come back from Southern Cal. Kylen's doing late night duty. So, Kylen, thank you for stopping by. We loved hearing your breakdown on the Warriors, and you're welcome to join us after any and all Warrior games between now and the finals. You always seem like you add a little something to the show, so we appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks as always for having me. You guys are fun. Glad everyone's sober tonight. I'll definitely be back. We'll see who they're playing, and we'll, regroup and revisit this next week. Excited.
Have a great weekend, Kylen. Take care.
Thank you. You guys have a good weekend too.
All
right, there you go. Kylen Mills from Cron, check it out. And then Rye, you got a big thing going. Me and Dan will finish up. We'll talk a little Giants and do a little Niners, and we can turn our Niner thing into a video hopefully tomorrow, but on the schedule. But good stuff, man. Great stuff all week. And
I'm stoked to talk Giants and Niners, but I didn't realize how late it got. My girlfriend, I feel bad. She's literally lying on a carpet right now because it's the only thing we have left in our apartment during this move. Her and my dog lying down right now. We got to finish up, go back to her place. Then we have an early flight tomorrow. So
coming back home tomorrow, huh?
Coming to a wedding tomorrow. It's real. It was my sister's graduation, and I'm moving. It's been a week.
Oh yeah,
it's been a action packed. But hey, man, safe travels. We'll catch you maybe Sunday night for Giants Cards Game 3 post game.
Absolutely. All right, love you guys.
See you, Ryan. All right,
take care.
Ryan checking in. Let's. We have another donation here from Todd. Jersey Architecture donates $4.99. This is such a great show. Thank you. Thank you, Todd.
Yeah.
We try to make it that way every single night. And you know what it really is? It's just an organic post-game show where we're just going to move it around. Danny, let's talk a little bit about the Giants, and then I want to finish with a little breakdown. Let's go week by week on the Niners. You up for that?
I'm up for that, yeah.
Let's talk a little Giants here for a second. Interesting start for the Giants this year. They by the way, this weekend they started Webb tonight. Is it Junis in game 2, Rodon in game 3?
Yeah.
So it looks good for the Giants. They got the win with Webb. Junis has pitched well, and Rodon's their ace. But what do you make of the Giants? I mean, they started 13-6. Belt was in the lineup. Belt went out with the COVID. They went 1-6. Since Buster Posey Day, they're 6-0. Belt's back in the lineup. Do the Giants go as Belt goes? I mean, is that what we should gain from that?
He's a key player to the lineup, most definitely. I mean, he's great out there on defense. I think Brandon Belt's been an underrated player for a while, but last year he really, he had his biggest home run total, and I think he did it. I don't even have to look how many games he played, but I think it was like 118 or something like that. He didn't play very many games last year. I'll have to look that up and see exactly what his.
Because he's just such a good offensive player.
Yeah, he really is.
I mean, what Belt is becoming late in his career is, if he can stay healthy, man, he's a force. He's a force. And he reminds me of Jack Clark, now I'm dating myself going back to the 80s, but, Jack could carry the Giants for weeks at a time. And I get the same vibe with Belt. And a little similarly with Jock Peterson. Peterson's another guy who can carry the team when he's hot.
Yeah, Belt last year, 97 games. That's all he had.
How many home runs?
29 last year.
29 home runs in 97 games.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great year. It's an incredible year.
He had an unbelievable year. So if he stays healthy, I believe he can hit 30. Well, who knows with this year with the baseball, but, being doctored and stuff. But what I think the Giants' key is everybody knows their role and buys into it, okay? And you got just, guys that have been, like we said, no real superstars at all on the team. All-stars, the only guys that have been all-stars on the team are Belt's made the all-star, Crawford and Longoria. I don't know if Jock Peterson ever made an all-star game. I don't think he did, but none of the outfielders have made an all-star game. Rodon, he probably made it last year, I'm assuming, based on his I'm not sure, but not a lot of all-stars. You look at the Dodgers, their whole starting lineup was literally has made all-star teams. They send 9 guys out there that have made an all-star game. So
the Giants are just their team right now. I mean, and then to me, you called it in spring training. Luis Gonzalez, 2 more hits tonight. Luis Gonzalez is hitting .328. Yeah. I'm a little surprised where they hit Gonzalez in the lineup. He always hits down in the lineup. It seems like he's swinging the hell out of it. I mean, he's a good hitter. He's balanced at the plate. He can go the opposite field. He's got enough pop to hit it over the fence. He's hitting .328, 2 for 3 tonight with an RBI. Yaz looks much better offensively than he did last year.
Yes,
Ruff is starting to heat up a little bit. Belt's now back. Wade's now back. If they could get LaStella back, I mean, the one thing about the Giants is they're going to pitch. They're going to pitch.
Yeah,
so if they can hit, they're going to be good. Now, what did you think of the one thing that was a little disappointing on the Giant front? They had a DFA, Tyler Beatty, and they didn't get anything for him. He went to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit.
We both thought he'd be traded and would go to Pittsburgh and be traded, but no.
Yeah, I'm surprised Farham wasn't able to work a deal out, even with someone like the Pirates. Just because the stronger teams that have a solid 40-man roster probably didn't want to let anybody go. And so you kind of thought he would end up with one of the younger teams that's trying to build its roster. But here's where I think Beatty, and I'm pulling for him,
He was a first-round pick in 2014, and they just gave him away for nothing.
Yeah,
they couldn't. Nobody. He throws 98, and there was nobody out there. And guys got like 4 pitches. It's amazing. I mean, he's probably gonna have a long big league career. I mean, he's gonna figure it out at some point.
Yeah, he's gonna figure it out because he was on the same team as Walker Buehler at Vanderbilt, and that was a 1-2 combo at Vandy, and Beatty was the higher thought of prospect. In fact, the Giants took him, I think, with I can't remember what pick they had in that 14 draft. I want to say around 14. But
I think you guessed it. I think it was 14. I think there was 14th pick overall.
Yeah, and the Dodgers got Buehler mid to maybe 23, if I remember right, something like that. But gosh, we didn't call that one right.
No, but I would have thought that, man, with a guy like that, 6'4", 220, he's got a bunch of pitches, throws 98, former first-round pick, that they would have been able to get some piece coming back in a trade, but no.
You think they would have kind of learned, you look at Brebbia last year, he was awful, they just basically sent him down to AAA, but he was coming off Tommy John in 2020. And or was it 19? But I think it was 2020, and he came back last year, and you could see he just wasn't himself where he was. Had a really good year in 19 with the Cardinals. Well, Beatty has Tommy John surgery, and so he's just coming back. You got to believe that later on, sometime this year, and definitely in the years in the future, he's going to have his stuff back, and his arm's going to be as strong as it was pre-TJ. I hate to see him just get rid of a guy like that. And I know they didn't have any options, but to get nothing.
I know. Well, it's just everybody when everybody knows that you have no options, so it's no different than the business world. If you have leverage,
Giants are built to win. Right now,
well, if you have leverage, you got leverage.
Yeah.
And the Giants had no leverage. And so, you know what? Everybody knows their roster situation, and I'm sure they needed the roster spot. And so they get nothing. But I think, Pittsburgh's a perfect spot for him. He'll go there, he'll get innings, and he'll develop. James Foster donates $1.99. He says, "Let's effing go, boys." It's after midnight, and James is donating $1.99. We appreciate that, James, for for making the donation and for being a fan of the show. The Giants have won 6 in a row. Isn't that something? I mean,
they're a half game out.
I mean, it's just when you think, oh man, maybe this is, maybe this year is going to be kind of a dud compared to last year. Maybe they don't have enough. Maybe they won't be able to score 4 and 5 runs every day. Suddenly they get it going. And, it's good to see. It's good to see. I don't know what to say about it other than, good for them. And they're better than most teams in the National League. I mean, who's better than the Giants for sure? You could say maybe LA, maybe the Mets.
That's about it.
Maybe the Padres, maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe the Cardinals. Everybody else in the National League is worse than the Giants. Everybody. Maybe the Brewers. There's like a handful of teams, like, Dodgers, Mets for sure, and maybe 2 or 3 others. The rest of the teams in the league, the Giants can beat them like a drum, pretty rhythmically. So, I'm really eager to see how this season plays out for the Giants and what they do in the middle of the year, because they have prospects to trade if they want to. They have salary room to take on, somebody who's making too much somewhere else, and maybe they take a contract and it doesn't, and they have the ability to take on a contract because they have payroll flexibility, because they're so far beneath what they've spent in the past. By the way, one other note tonight, Dodgers placed Clayton Kershaw on the 15-day injured list with a right SI joint inflammation, shoulder joint.
No,
it's a hip.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help them at all. Yeah, it was good. I was happy to hear that Bo Mel's cancer free. So he's not. That was good news for the Padres. And the Padres picked up Robinson Cano, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. That doesn't move the needle for me.
Right. Well, 5 years ago would have, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Today, not as much. All right, Danny, are you ready to pivot here at 12:12? We're only going to go to the bottom of the hour. That means we got 18 minutes to talk Niners schedule. Are you, Danny? Are you ready for a little Niners schedule breakdown?
I am, and I'm ready. Are we going to just do the Niners? We're not going to look at anybody else, right? Just the Niners?
No, we'll just go Niners. You want to go Niners? Let's just do Niners.
Yeah, let's do Niners. Week 1.
And by the way, James Foster, thank you for that $1.99. All right, let's get right into the Niners schedule, because let's go win-loss, and see what we got. See what we got at the end of the year.
Let me get my pencil and pen here. Pencil
get your
and paper.
Pen, get your paper.
Because I'm going to mark this
notes
down, and we're gonna compare and see who gets a better record.
Who gets it closer between me and you?
Yeah, who does better? And I'm hoping you pick if they go 17-0.
All right. Yeah. All right. So here we go. Week 1, Niners open in Chicago at Soldier Field. This is going to be Trey Lance against Justin Fields. This is going to be interesting, I think. I mean, really, really interesting. I think if you're D'Amico Ryans, you got to be feeling pretty good about this opener. And also if you're going to go play the Bears at Soldier Field, man, you want to play in September when it's kind of hot and kind of nice. You don't want to be rolling in there in December. So the fact that they have a road trip to Chicago and they're getting rid of it in week 1, I'm going to say that's a Niner win. I think Trey Lance is going to outplay Justin Fields. Fields was terrific last year against the Niners, I thought, in the game at Soldier, where he just threw just a perfect pass on the run for a touchdown pass in the end zone on the move. But I think the Niners get the win. I'm going to say Niners get the win over the Bears, and they're 1-0.
I'm in agreement with you, and I'm considering going back for that game because the Giants are playing the Cubs that weekend too.
Wouldn't that be cool? People were suggesting this week, wouldn't it be cool if somehow teams or leagues coordinated with each other so that fans would have really cool vacation trips that they could take? So maybe you go to Chicago, which is a great town, and then you go to a Niner Bear game on a Sunday, and maybe a little Giants baseball on Friday night, Saturday.
Friday and Saturday, and that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. I've never been to Wrigley, so it would be kind of one of my
You've never been to Wrigley?
Oh,
you got to go to Wrigley. You got to go to Wrigley. All right, so we both have the Niners at 1-0. Week 2, Niners take on Pete Carroll and the Seahawks at Levi's.
Is that my turn now?
This is an interesting one. It's a 105 start.
Yeah.
It's a 105 start. Seattle goes against Denver in week 1. So that's going to be their big emotional Russell Wilson game in week 1. Now the Niners will get Seattle on a short week.
Wait, are you looking at what week are you looking at? 2?
Week 2.
Oh, no, they play Atlanta. Oh, no, wait a minute.
No, it's Seattle.
What am I looking at? Regular season. Oh, geez. You know what I did? I'm on ESPN, and I thought I was looking at the I hit Seattle's schedule. I was hitting the, down. Let me go back here and hit I know they play.
My buddy Jimmy says, I'll be in Chicago for the Giants series, Coach.
Cool.
There you go. Jimmy's making the trek out to Wrigley.
Yeah, week 2.
Week 2. Now this is, 49ers. This is going to be the rookie left tackle Charles Cross going against Nick Bosa. Niners Seahawks first edition. Short week for Seattle, and because it's a short week for Seattle, and Seattle swept the Niners last year, right? Didn't they beat them twice?
Yep, they did.
I'm going to say Niners get the win. Niners win week 2 at home. They're 2-0. They're off and running.
Yep, I've got the Niners in week 2 at home opener, and so week 3 they're at Denver.
See, we both have them at 2-0. Okay, so week 3 they're at Denver.
Sunday night game.
So this is going to be Sunday night football, 5:20 start. Niners against Russell Wilson. Denver. Denver's got some really good weapons, and they got Russell. They also have DJ Jones and K'Wan Williams and Tom Compton, Smex Niners. So it'll be, Smex Niners there. I'm going to say Denver gets the win. Russell Wilson, there are very few things that are constant in the NFL. One of the constants is that Russell Wilson beats the 49ers.
Yeah, he does.
And he owns them in prime time. Absolutely owns them in prime time. Right. So I'm going to take Denver. I think that's a loss.
Yeah. Okay, and then you've got you've got Denver, and I've looked at this schedule. Denver's got Judy, don't they? Don't they got?
They do have
Judy?
Jerry Judy, but
he got busted here.
Yeah,
something.
I mean, second-degree tampering charges.
He'll still be playing probably though, right? Or do you think?
I don't know. I don't know if he'll be playing or not, but they're pretty loaded at wide receiver. I wouldn't say that Denver. I'm not picking Denver because of Jerry Judy. I'm picking Denver because of Russell.
Right. I agree with you with Russell, but Judy wasn't he pretty much their number one receiver last year?
Well, I mean, they got other guys too. They got KJ Hamler. They got Tim Patrick. I mean, it's a pretty loaded receiver group.
I'm just thinking
they got Cortland Sutton. I think Cortland Sutton might have been their number one guy.
I'm just thinking if he got a suspension, 4 game suspension or something, that maybe with the upgraded corners that the 49ers have. But I as a fan, I want to go with Niners, but I with Russell Wilson prime time, he'll probably pull it off with like 8 seconds left. Exactly.
So we're in lockstep right now. We're in lockstep. We're saying the Niners are 2-1 going into week 4. All right, week 4 they take on the Rams. It's Monday Night Football. This is going to be interesting. The Niners have owned the Rams, and we'll see. The Rams have maybe the Super Bowl hangover. Stafford and Sean McVay and Niners Rams, and that game is at Levi's. That's a home game in week 4 against the Rams. I'm going to say that's a win for the 49ers. I'm going to say they're going to beat the Rams. Let's go to 3-1.
I'm going to have to take the second half start first because you're going to have all the picks, and I don't want to follow you with all 17 picks. So
we'll switch it up. We'll go 4 weeks, and then you tell me who you're going to go with in week 5.
All right. Well, I'll start 5.
Where are you in week 4?
I'm with the 49ers.
Yeah. Okay, so 3-1. We both think 3-1.
Yeah. And
all right, go ahead. You go to week 5. You start off.
Okay. What I love about their schedule is this is their furthest they go travel-wise, and it's back-to-back, which the 49ers always request a back-to-back East Coast trip so they can stay and not have, fly back and forth from the West Coast to the East. So they're going to be back-to-back at Carolina and at Atlanta, and I'm going to go with the 49ers over Carolina to make them 4-1.
That could be Jimmy Garoppolo against Trey Lance.
That would be sweet.
That could be Jimmy Garoppolo against Trey Lance. I'm going to say the Niners are going to lose that game.
Okay.
I'm going to say Niners lose that game and are 3-2. Now, Sam Darnold, they're going to beat Sam Darnold, but let's just say it is Garoppolo. In Carolina, that's not an easy place to play. And I think they're not a bad football team. I think they've got some talent there. I'm gonna say Carolina gets the win there. And then week six in Atlanta against Marcus Mariota and the Atlanta Falcons. How do you see that one?
I'm going to follow that up again with another win because they'll be practicing somewhere back in that time zone. And they've done that the last 2 seasons or so, I believe, and won both games, both years. So I'm going to go with another win for the 49ers over Atlanta.
Okay, that takes us to week 7. They play the
Chiefs. Who do you got? Who do you got there?
I'm taking the Niners to win that game. I think they're going to bounce back. So I have them losing to Carolina in week 5. I don't think they'll lose both those games. I think they'll win in Atlanta.
Okay.
And also I think at this point, now you're talking about 6 weeks into the season. Now I think Trey Lance is going to be starting to play a little bit better ball. I think they'll come into their own at this point, and they seem like they do well on those back-to-back road trips. Are they going to stay on the other side of the country? I think they've done well in these spots. I'm going to take the Niners to win. Now I have them at 4-2 after 6 weeks. You have them at 5-1.
Yeah.
So let's get to week 7. What do you think? Niners Chiefs Sunday night or Sunday. This is a 1:25 start. Niners Chiefs, and that one is at Levi's. So Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid coming to Levi's.
Yeah.
Super Bowl rematch.
Here probably starts the toughest part of the schedule, in my opinion. Kansas City, then the Rams, and then the Chargers, Arizona, New Orleans. So, wow, that one has got me. And of course, we're predicting without knowing what the injury status is going to be with any of the teams. So, if Mahomes is out, I'll definitely say that's a a Niner win. But, I want to say Kansas City is going to win, but the 49ers still have not had their chance to play them since the Super Bowl. And I think the Niners will get up for this game, and they're going to somehow pull this game off against Kansas City.
Okay, so Danny's got a win there. I'm going with the Chiefs. I'll go with the Chiefs. And so I have the Niners at 4-3. You have the Niners at 6-1 going into Week 8. Okay, so we're looking at things differently right now. Let's get to Week 8. Niners Rams in LA, rematch of the NFC Championship game. Niner fans almost assuredly are going to pack the house. It's going to be a very favorable Niner crowd down there. And they could be coming off a loss. I'm going to say that's a victory over the Rams.
So you're going to take the Rams.
No. I'm going to take the Niners. I'm going to say that's a victory.
Oh, you're going to take the Niners.
I'm going to say the Niners beat the Rams to go to 5-3.
Okay, and I'm going to pick the Rams in this one because even though they've had their number in the regular season the last few years, defending Super Bowl champs, I don't think they'll lose twice to their arch rival.
Okay, so you have the Niners at 6-2, and I have the Niners at 5-3. All right, now the Week 9 is the bye week. Week 10 is Chargers coming to Levi's Stadium. Man, the Chargers are good. Chargers have had a really good offseason. I'm going to say the Chargers beat the 49ers, and the Niners go to 5-4. I'm going to say that's a loss.
You're taking the LAC.
I'm taking the Chargers.
Okay. This is coming off of a bye. So I don't know what San Diego. Who does Who do the Chargers? Who do the Chargers play the week before
in Week 9? I'm not sure.
Or do they have a bye? Let me look here. Let me just see, because that plays a big factor in. Let me look here. Chargers.
The Chargers are pretty stacked. I think the Chargers have had their defense. They just added Khalil Mack. They may not have a weakness on that defense right now.
Okay. Their bye's the week before. So they go to Atlanta the week before, and they'll probably beat up on Atlanta, and then they've got the Niners, and then they got Kansas City after that. So they might be hopefully they'll be looking past the Niners and thinking about that division matchup. So I'm going to take the Niners. Week 9.
Going with the Niners.
Yeah.
So what record do you have now? You have 6-3 or 7-3? You have 7-3.
It's 2. That's only 9, right? 7-2.
It's Week 10. This is Week 10.
Yeah, but that's only the 9th game, though. Because they had a bye, right?
7-2. 7-2.
Yeah.
So I have 5-4. You have 7-2. Listen to this Charger defense. They have Joey Bosa. They picked up Sebastian Joseph Day. They still have Tillery. They picked up Atito Ogbania from UCLA. Their linebackers are, Khalil Mack, Kenneth Murray, J.C. Jackson. What a secondary. J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel, Derwin James, Nazir Adderley. That's a hell of a secondary. Yeah, I definitely like the Chargers. I'll take the Chargers there. All right, let's go to Week 11. In the desert, I'd say normally it would be in the desert, but it's actually in Mexico City. Yeah. Niners, Cardinals from Mexico City. I'm going to take the 49ers to win there. To go to 6-4. Yeah, I know Arizona's been a team that has owned them, but the 49ers, I think on the international stage, will play at a high level. I think I think that there'll be a ton of Niner fans. My guess is that will be a Niner home game because the Niners have a lot more fans than Arizona. They're an iconic franchise that has a global audience. And I think playing in Mexico City, it will be a lot of 49er fans. So I think that's going to be a Niner crowd. And I think they get their 6th win there. So I got them at 6-4.
Wow. Okay.
What are you doing?
I'm going to take the Niners as well because it's in Mexico City, and I don't think the crowd will be, like you said, as raucous as it is in Arizona. And so the Niners, I have them at 8-2, right?
8-2.
And now let me take I'll
Week
take
12.
the next couple. I'm going to take the Saints in
to beat the Niners.
Yeah,
at home?
Is that at where? Wait a minute.
It's at Levi's. It's at Levi's.
It's at Levi's. Okay.
Yeah.
Dang, they've got 3.
I'm going Niners in that game.
Games. You know, I
against Jameis Winston. Come on. I don't that by the way, that could be Jimmy. That could be the Trey against Jimmy game, because you know what? Look at what New Orleans has done this offseason. It's pretty clear that New Orleans is not in any way rebuilding. So they're trying to win right now. They just picked up the Honey Badger. It would not surprise me at all. I mean, they have Ian Book, they have Taysom Hill, they have Andy Dalton, they have Jameis Winston. But to me, that they might be a sleeper landing spot for Jimmy Garoppolo.
I'm going to actually change that. I looked at the schedule. I thought they were in New Orleans. So because it's a home game, I'm going to take the 49ers. And then what do we got? The next game is what? Miami, the return of Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, Miami on a Sunday. Mike McDaniel, Raheem Mostert, they return to the Bay Area. Will the Niners be able to contain the speed of Mostert and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? And you know what? The Dolphins embarrassed the 49ers this last year. So I'm gonna say that's a win for the 49ers. I think that's going to be an 8 that they go to 8-4 there. I don't know how that one's going to get done, but I just think that Miami's got a ton of speed, but the fact that Miami rolled in and spanked the Niners last year will have an impact on the thing. So I'll say Niners get the win. They roll to 8-4.
And I've got the Niners as well. And I think the teacher beats the pupil here. And Kyle does pretty well against his proteges. He doesn't he had McVay's number for a while until that last game, that NFC championship. And he's done pretty well against Green Bay's his buddy in Green Bay. It's late. All of a sudden I'm drawing blanks on the Green Bay coach, head coach.
LaFleur, Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur, and his brother's now with the Jets, right? Offensive coordinator with Saleh.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay, so week 14, they're playing Tampa again at home.
This is Tom Brady coming back to the Bay Area.
I'm going to take Tampa just because I don't think Trey Lance, if he's quarterback, will beat the master.
Yeah, I'm going Brady as well. Brady's not going to lose back in the Bay Area in front of friends and family, and that should be a fun game for sure. It's a 1:25 kickoff, but I'll go with Tom Brady there. Now we're week 15, and this is the short week. This is Seattle on a Thursday night, and this is going to be interesting. Both teams will be on a short week, so.
Let's see,
at this point, this is week 15. So this is about what do you think what kind of year do you think Seattle's going to have? I think Seattle's going to start fast. I think they had a good draft, but I think at this point, they'll be in more of a free fall with injuries and issues. And, but it's hard to win in Seattle for sure.
It is.
It's not an easy place to win.
I say the Niners
get the win. I say the Niners get the win.
So you have them beat Seattle twice this year.
I'm sweeping Seattle. Yeah. I like Seattle's draft, but let's be honest. There's a lot of people that believe that Seattle wants a top 5 pick and that they're their whole non-pursuit of a quarterback, maybe to tank for a high pick in this next year's draft. You know, I to me, Seattle's always had their number, but I'm going to go with the Niners here.
Okay. You've got the Niners.
Yep, 9-5.
Okay.
Who do you got?
I'm going to take the Niners again, just because they got beat twice last year to Seattle, and Russell Wilson's not there. So, and I don't have a lot of faith in their quarterback, Drew Lock. They got Lock, right?
Yeah, they got Drew Lock.
Yeah.
They do have a good running game. They got Kenneth Walker, but you're going to go with the Niners there. How about Week 16? Yeah. Niners at home on a Saturday. This is Christmas Eve day, by the way. This is December 24th, Christmas Eve day, 1:05 start. Commanders in town. Carson Wentz against the 49ers. Wentz has never lost to the Niners in his career. He's 3-0 against them.
I don't think he'll play in the game. He'll probably be hurt by then or something. He gets, and I think the Niners at this point, I have them. They're driving for the number 1 seed. So, because I've got them with only 3 losses. And it's December, 3 games left. I think they take command of the Commanders.
Okay, so you got to win. I think they're going to win as well, even though Washington has a good D line and Wentz has never lost to the 49ers. I think at that point in the year, there's a very good chance, as you said, Wentz could be hurt. I just think the 49ers have a better roster, top to bottom, than Washington. Yeah. All right, we're at Week 17, and this is going to be a really interesting one because this one's about your professionalism. Because it's Niners Raiders on New Year's Day. That means the Niners are going to spend New Year's Eve in Las Vegas, and then they get the Raiders in Week 17. I mean, this, in the Sin City, the day after New Year's Eve, for a tilt with the Raiders. The Raiders have added Chandler Jones. The Raiders have added Devontae Adams. The Raiders on paper look pretty good. Right. What do you think, Danny? Where are you with this one?
Wow, this is going to be a very tough game, and I hate to pick the Raiders, but I'm going to pick the Raiders, and against my better judgment. But I just think the Niners may be, just. Raiders are going to be fighting. I believe the Raiders at this point are going to be fighting for a wild card spot, and it's going to be a bigger game than it will be for the 49ers.
So you have the Niners losing in Vegas on New Year's Day to the Raiders. Niners don't lose to the Raiders, not in the regular season. I'll go Niners get the win. I have them at 11-5.
Okay, I've got them at
what do you have?
12-4.
12-4. All right, heading into Week 18, this is the final game of the regular season. We're not sure if it's going to be a Saturday or a Sunday. It's going to be the 49ers against the Cardinals. This is going to be at Levi's. This one's going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. No division rival has given Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers more trouble than Arizona. And I'm going to say Arizona gets the win.
Okay,
I'm going to say
Arizona.
I'm going to go with Arizona. So I got the Niners at 11-6.
And I'm going to go with San Francisco on this one, and I got them at 13-4.
Wow!
And you got them 11-6.
11-6. You got 13-4.
When I did it game by game,
we're both going over the Vegas total. The Vegas total, I think, is 10.5 or 9.5.
Here's my thinking on the Niners. I think they got a lot to prove this year. With falling one game short of the championship, having a kind of a rough start to the season last year, and the controversy of everything going on and the injuries. I think they've added some depth and key places with the cornerback and the defensive line, and having that depth, and then the fact that I think they're going to take some of the pressure off of Debo this year with the addition of Davis Price. Yeah, Davis Price. TD Price, I call him. Yeah.
TDP. There you go.
Yeah. So
Tyrion Davis Price.
Yeah, I think with his and keeping guys more healthy, I think the Niners have a lot of depth. I think they drafted to strategically with depth in mind, and even their undrafted free agents were solid. They got 2 really good undrafted free agents. I like the kid out of Arizona State, the center. I think
Donovan West.
Yeah, I think he was graded as like the 2nd or 3rd rated center in the draft, and he went undrafted. I don't understand that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's funny. Matthew Mears says 11-6. I'll take it. James Foster says 8-9. 8-9, James? 8-9? He says Lance, lack of experience at quarterback. Lance will be inconsistent this year. Wow.
Here's where I think Kyle's got a lot to prove. And I think I don't know. I just get this feeling that Lance is going to be, we'll see mistakes, rookie mistakes and stuff. But I think the offense is going to be designed so much in mind to make him look good that he'll excel at things. And I think he's going to cause a lot of defenses some real headaches I think Kyle's going to change up the game plan so much that you'll see Lance do a lot of games where he hardly runs, and then other games where you see him, with running in mind, where he, where they run the even a triple option threat, just
don't run this guy. This guy's not a running quarterback.
I don't want to run him.
Don't run him. Don't run him. I mean,
I thought the game plan with Arizona last year
was putrid. That was terrible. It was heinous. It was stupid.
That was you're gonna just kill this star guy you traded away 2 number 1s to move up and take him. What are you doing? But I think if you can get certain types of runs, I like to see Trey run naturally when he escapes the pocket.
You're talking about scrambling.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to call it designed runs. This guy already is going to take off and run.
No, I think that's why they've got
no more designed runs. I mean, not more, but no.
Yeah.
I don't want to see more designed runs up the A gap with no lead blocker, and your quarterback's taking hits on his throwing shoulder to gain 3 yards or 1 first down. I mean, it's just it's so beyond stupid. It's like mind-numbingly dumb. I mean, think about it. Do you really want to see Brock Purdy? Do you really want to see Nate Sudfeld? I mean, how many games do you think they're going to win if they have Nate Sudfeld or Brock Purdy? They better be a little smarter with Trey Lance than they showed this year. That Arizona game plan was freaking embarrassing.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a solid. I think they just they drafted some extra guys on the line. They got some big guys. Is Buford? Is it Buford?
Burford. Yeah, Spencer Burford.
Burford. He looks tough. I mean, he looks like he's with speed.
He's not going to play very much this year, but I mean, they're deep. You said it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're deep.
I just think they drafted with depth, and that they'll have a good taxi squad or practice squad. That if guys do go down, I think they drafted a little bit different than they did last year. Remember last year they still had Jalen Moore and the second round pick from Notre Dame,
Aaron Banks.
Banks, I don't know how, he's going to have to really come in and play, be ready to play, or he may be facing a cut,
Well, yeah, it's do or die time for Aaron Banks. But I mean, look at the 49ers. If you just look at their team, I mean, receiver wise, Ayuk, Debo, Jennings, Danny Gray, Ray McLeod. That's 5 receivers right there. I like Tay Martin. I like Tayseer Mack
too.
But I mean, you only carry 5 wide receivers, so you got right there. You've already got your 5. Offensive line, Trent Williams is your left tackle, probably Banks at left guard. Alex Mack, is he coming back? Is he not? We'll find out. But you got Brunskill, you got McGlinchey coming off the injury. That's the big question. Right. How healthy is McGlinchey? But then you drafted Zakel, and you have Donovan West and Jason Poe out of Mercer and Burford, and they've added some bodies to their O-line. So their O-line's deeper.
Right.
The tight end group's very deep. Kittle, Warner, Dwelly. I kind of like this undrafted rookie they got, Walston, out of North Carolina. So that, you typically keep 2 or 3 tight ends. They've got 3 or 4 right there. A lot of it's going to be about, can they keep Trey healthy? Because they're, assume they're going to trade Jimmy for a pick. And that means you're 1 hit away from Sudfeld and maybe 2 hits away from Purdy. So you gotta keep your quarterback healthy, but they're stacked in the backfield with Elijah Mitchell and TDP and Jeff Wilson and Trey Sermon. I was reading Grant Cohn's breakdown today about the rookie minicamp, and he was talking about the kid from Mason, whatever his name, Jordan Mason from Georgia Tech, who looked really good to me in the film that I watched. And he said he looked really good today at practice. So, they're deep in the backfield. You still have Juszczyk. Their D line is literally 15 deep.
Oh yeah.
They got 4 D lines.
They got
tons of speed at linebacker. They're about 10 deep at the corner. I mean, look what they got on the corner. They got Verrett and Mosley and Ambry Thomas and Samuel Womack and Diamador Lenore and Castro Fields. I mean, that's 6 right there. That doesn't include Dante Johnson, doesn't include Charvarius Ward. So they're 8 deep on the corner. You typically only keep 5. Right. Safety's the one spot because you got Jimmy Ward, and who's the strong safety? Are they going to re-sign Tart?
Well,
are they cool
Hufanga,
with George Odom?
They got Hufanga, and then they signed that kid out of Texas A&M, O'Neal.
Yeah, Leon O'Neal, and they got Taylor Hawkins and Quantrez Knight. But I think Hufanga, I was talking to Grant about this the other day. I think Hufanga is going to take off. I think he's going to be even better this year than he was last year.
Yeah, he's a football player.
He's good.
He may not have
he's
a great
player.
speed, but he's a football player.
But I think he'll find more speed. He'll work out. He'll be in better shape. He's going to know the defense better. I think your starting safeties are Ward and Talanoa, and then Hufanga, and then Charvarius Ward, Mosley, and probably Ambry Thomas, maybe Jason Verrett are your starting corner. I mean, that right there is a pretty decent secondary. The linebackers are terrific. The D-line's stacked and loaded and deep. So the O-line's deeper. The running back field is deep. The receiving core is deep. It's really what this year's about. It's about how good is the right side of your offensive line with Daniel Brunskill at right guard and McGlinchey coming off the injury. That's a big part of it right there. Is Matt coming back at center? If not, who's your starting center? Is it Donovan West? Is it Nick Zakel? Is it Jason Poe? So they don't, or are they going to go sign a JC Treader or somebody like that?
I'd like to see that. JC Treader.
They don't. The right side of their offensive line is a major question. How good is Brunskill, McGlinchey, and the center? To me, that's the big question on offense is that, and just Trey Lance. How good is he? How efficient is he? How well does he take care of the football? And can he stay healthy? Yeah, those are the questions I see offensively. And then defensively, is Drake Jackson going to be a difference maker coming off the edge? If he is, then wow. I mean, they really got something because they're really fast and instinctive at linebacker. They're deep at corner. I guess my big question on defense is how good, is Drake Jackson going to play? If not, who's going to man that other defensive end spot opposite Bosa? And then is Hufanga a good enough coverage player to play every down as a strong safety in this defense? Or is he going to get picked on down the field in pass coverage? And, do they have, if Hufanga can't stand up in coverage, who can? Can it be Odom? Can it be Knight? Can it be O'Neal? Can it be Hawkins? Do they go, they play Dante Johnson, in at free safety and move Jimmy Ward into the box? So to me, they still got a question in the secondary. They got a question with Drake Jackson opposite Bosa. They got a question about Trey Lance, and they got a question on the right side of their offensive line. If all those things are answered in a positive vein, I could be wrong with 11-6. I could see 13-4.
I like the fact that they have Hyder's come back, Kerry Hyder.
Yeah, that's another body they got on their D line. I mean, their D line.
They got
Danny,
Willis, they got
ridiculous.
Hurst, they got Givens, Ebicom. That's
Menahue. They signed Kamoko Toure. They picked up Hassan Ridgeway.
Yeah, Ridgeway. And then they got that kid out of UCF, Davis. I know he's not ready to play.
Yeah, well, he might redshirt. He might redshirt.
He may redshirt, but he's going to be. I think he reminds me of Jones. Gosh, what are my names? I'm drawing
DJ Jones.
DJ. I know it's DJ Jones. Was a
same body type
pick.
Same body type.
But I think Davis is quicker.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's funny. They're both short guys, but they're different. I mean, DJ Jones is strong, man. He's really strong against the run and quick. This guy is quicker than DJ, but not as strong against the run. I think he'll be a good replacement for Street, and he'll be a good interior rusher when he gets healthy. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but I mean, look how loaded they are. Yeah. Bosa, Armstead, Kinlaw, Drake Jackson, maybe your front four. Your second four could be Kamoko Toure, Kerry Hyder, Hassan Ridgeway, and Ebukam, let's say. And they might cut Ebukam for cap reasons, but on paper right now, that's it. And then your threes are a Menahue, Mo Hurst. You still have Kevin Givens. You got Jordan Willis. You got Alex Bear. I mean, they're stacked. They're stacked.
What's the cap hit? What's the cap hit when with D Ford? If they, I'm assuming they're going to cut him, but what's the cap hit? Isn't it like $7 million? Or
I don't know exactly what his cap hit is, but they're cutting him. They're cutting him.
I can't imagine them keeping him. But is he going to retire? You think, or is he done?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think he's going to retire. I do. I think he's going to retire. I think he's had enough.
Yeah. I mean,
let's bolt for the door before we do. Let's thank our sponsors, and you're actually one of our sponsors, Danny. So why don't we'll put your billboard up there. We have a comment in there. We'll take down so it's not on top of your billboard. There we go. Jimmy Mole. Jimmy, have a great night, by the way. Dan Coach Emilio, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. Danny, you're a retirement planning specialist, and you've been a sponsor of the show now since its onset. Give us an idea if people, either go to securemoney.com and check out your site, or if they call you up and want to have a consultation and want to utilize your skills as a retirement planning specialist, and they call 925-628-9966. What is that experience going to be like?
Yeah, it's give me a call. We'll find out about what your goals are, have a little chat, and we'll set up, most likely, I'm not going to have time to meet with you right away, but that moment, but we'll set up a time to talk where we can have a good half hour to an hour. We can do it in person or over the phone or even a Zoom, whatever, works best for everybody. But just basically going to sit down and find out what your goals are. And I'm going to help you map out strategies to get you to those goals. The name of the company is Secure Money because we use products that are guaranteed to never lose money. I was with a client today and kept asking me the question, now, if the market takes a beating, am I going to lose anything? I said, no, you're not going to lose anything. You won't make anything that year, but zero becomes your hero. Hey,
sure.
having 0% growth versus losing 25% is a lot easier to swallow. So I'm going to just put you in products and that are going to help you never run out of money and protect your assets and grow them. And we're in an inflation period where we're really looking at 7 to 8%. What they tell us, But if you
is that going to continue, Danny? I mean, from your perspective, are we going to see inflation continue to rise, or is it going to top out here where it's at?
I see it continuing for the most part of 22.
Wow,
I think we're in a situation with food and gas prices and everything, building, everything's going up and up and up, but eventually. Things will turn around when people are not able to afford a lot of the luxuries that there's still spending going on, but when it reaches its point where people just don't spend anymore, or maybe don't go out as much, don't drive anywhere because of the cost of gas. When it starts hitting people, it takes a while. It's kind of it's a period of time before you really start to feel a change. And I think people will start to feel it more and more as summer comes along. And historically, gas prices always go up in the summer because people are traveling.
Sure.
So we
Makes sense.
may not even have seen our peak with the gas prices. So if they continue to raise prices, people stop spending, and then you see a real market hit. So you could see a market really take a serious beating going forward. And if you don't want to participate in that loss going downside, give me a call and I'll help you protect what you have saved.
SecureMoney.com on the web. And if you're giving Danny a call, 925-628-9966. And obviously we appreciate Dan being a sponsor of the show, not just on the show, but being a sponsor of the show. And let's also thank our other sponsor, Telmetrics.co, Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an orthopedic surgeon, if you're an occupational therapist, a chiropractor, or a physical therapist, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. They use, if you say, what is Telmetrics exactly? Well, they use computer vision and artificial intelligence, and they provide a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics.co can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all of your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, be sure you go to Telmetrics.co, Telmetrix.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being proud sponsors of the Krueg Show. And we also should tell you, hey, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Be extra sure to hit the notification bell so you can catch all the upcoming Krueg shows. I love you guys. I'm having a lot of fun. Doing these shows. And thanks for supporting my channel, The Krueg Show. Thanks to Len. Thanks to Ryan. Those are my behind the scenes guys. Actually, Ryan is not as much behind the scenes these days. He's more in front of the camera. But thanks to Len and thanks to Ryan. They do an incredible job at getting this show up and running and given us so many different wrinkles throughout the last month. It's been really enjoyable. Thanks to the sponsors, Casey Bateman and Dan Coach Emilio. We have some new sponsors. New York Style Italian Sausage Company will be entering the fray. Casero's Italian Menswear entering the fray as well. We got a couple others as well that want to come aboard this week that we may be adding, depending on if it's a fit. And if anybody wants to support the show, how do you support the show? Well, there's a number of different ways. You can go to, we're selling Krueg Show t-shirts, the Krueg Show podcast t-shirts. They're being sold at Casero's Italian Menswear in Dublin. So he's got a full stack of the t-shirts there. So if you want a Krueg Show t-shirt, and they're really cool, check that out at Casero's Italian Menswear in Dublin. And also, obviously, shop our sponsors. If you have a need for Danny, if you have a need for Telmetrics, please reach out and shop our sponsors. That helps us quite a bit. If you want to be a sponsor, just follow me on Twitter and send me a direct message. And if it's a fit, I'll definitely get back to you. We'll talk about your company and where you're at, and what your needs are. And if it's a fit for both of us, we'll go forward. If not, no harm, no foul. But we do appreciate everybody who's reached out. I can't tell you the number of people that have reached out and said that they're enjoying the show and enjoying what we're doing on a nightly basis.
Awesome.
Jaguayo 56 says, great show, gentlemen. We appreciate it, Jaguayo, and thanks for all the donations. Thanks for everybody who donated as well tonight over the show.
Hey, Larry,
busy show.
Yeah, you got one of the Krueg Show t-shirts. Is that one you're wearing?
I'm wearing a Caceres right now, but I do have some Krueg Show t-shirts, but I'm waiting for him to make me the 2X because the 1X is a little snug. Little snug, but if you'd like one, I've got some extra XLs. If you'd like a Krueg Show, I can get you one.
Awesome.
You know the right guy for the Krueg Show t-shirts. But good
Very
stuff.
good.
That was good. Hey, what a night, huh? Warriors
Yeah.
win. It was incredibly exciting. Giants win. They've won 6 in a row. The Niners had the rookie mini camp yesterday and today. Tomorrow, by the way, or this weekend, a couple things to remember coming up on the Krueg Show. We're going to have Jordan Elliott stop by and Matt Barrow stop by this weekend, I believe, with some live streams, and we'll break down what the Niners rookies looked like at Niner rookie minicamp. We're not going to do a post game tomorrow on Giants baseball, so if you're watching Giants tomorrow and you get to the post game, sadly, we will not be on there tomorrow. My kid's got a doubleheader baseball game, so we're going to take tomorrow off, but we'll be back with you on Sunday. And Sunday we're going to have it's a 4:10 start. Giants are playing a rare Sunday nighter in St. Louis. So, Nicholas Perkins, by the way, who's a friend of the show, says those Krueg Show T-shirts are awesome. I love mine. There you go. Nick has one of the Krueg Show T-shirts. Right. Nick, thank you for listening. And Nick is listening tonight in Maui. How about that? He's in Kapalua.
Hey. Wow.
Been to Kapalua, Danny?
I have. I've been to.
My buddy owns a condo on the Bay Course, and he gave it to me for my honeymoon years and years ago. And we stayed at my buddy's place in Kapalua for 14 days for free. 14 days he gave it to me for free for his condo.
That's awesome.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Love Hawaii. Right now in Hawaii, it's almost 10 o'clock. Yeah. All right. Hey, that's going to do it for us. So I'll be back with you. And Danny, where are you Sunday night? You going to be with us on the post game?
Sunday night? Yeah, I should be around. Yeah.
Sounds good. We will catch you Sunday night. For Dan, I'm Larry. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to have.